You're listening to Midwest Coven Cast.
I'm Susie.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Marilyn. We are three modern pagans making our way through this world.
We hope you will join us every 2 weeks
For conversations about,
Well,
just about everything. We hope you enjoy this episode.
hello, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
We are like the most awkward people on this.
I'm like, sorry. I realized I was the one being so chatty.
No,
Sorry.
that's all right.
I was more just like, are we going to actually start the episode?
Yeah,
Be like,
okay.
welcome.
It's happening.
Are we because we've recorded?
So this is the
Yeah.
season of experiences, and this is the episode of the Pride experience. Because a lot of people that we know and love are definitely involved in this community. And are. I mean, personally...
Don't drink this, it's not real
Excuse me.
Oh, yes, Sam just lit our candle.
Oh,
Our
the ritual candle has been lit.
It's still going
Who
strong.
lit the ritual candle? It was Sam.
It's going real strong. Don't burn your
It
nostrils.
smells like coffee, isn't it?
Oh, we have guests for our
coffee candle.
episode that we
Yes.
should
We
introduce.
should probably introduce our guests.
We're a shit show. That's what you all are always
They're
here
used
for.
to us. They know this about us. This is no secret.
I didn't even know it was recording.
Well,
Welcome to the show.
That's what I was kind of like,
Steve
too.
is-
I was like, oh, dang, okay, I guess we're starting the episode
So,
all of
guess
a
who's
sudden.
back?
So, okay, I'm
Guess
chatty
who's back?
Cathy now. Okay, let's get
Steve is
going.
back.
No,
Tell your
it's all
friends.
good, but it was like everybody was just talking and cool, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it was like, let's get going. What are we doing? You're talking. I'm like, okay, geez, I'm sorry.
I'm
We're getting to the
nervous and I
episode.
want to get this over with. Let's go.
Okay, but yes, so since we are recording,
So
sorry,
Steve
back to topic.
has been our guest before.
Hello.
Yes, and he is back.
Yes.
But we have
Extra
another-
special guest.
Yeah, we have somebody else.
I brought my partner Nine along with me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I suppose I'm occupying space right now. Hello.
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 This is Nine and Steve.
He's one of our newest family members. You know, I consider him so much.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
Welcome to our family.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Welcome to our podcast.
Yeah.
Our awkward podcast.
We actually have
glad you're here.
listeners. Could you imagine?
People pay to listen to this crap. Can you believe this?
Oh man.
We have fun.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, I see the LA car.
Yep, I see them all right there. It's on that movie.
So, as Susie said, we're doing an LGBTQIA plus episode today, and we're really excited to have Steve and Nine here because they've been partners how many years now? I know Nine said you couldn't answer this question, which is totally
Don't defer
okay.
to me.
Almost
But
3 years.
Steve-
Almost
Okay.
three.
You
Almost
said
3
Steve
years.
would know.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
He said, I'll believe you.
And how long was I? Was that like when I started traveling to see you, or?
No.
Okay.
Because you guys have been like dating a little longer than you've been like
Yeah.
together.
We were
together,
officially
slash friends.
together
Yeah.
4/23, 2019.
Chronology.
See?
Yes.
Steve's
History
good for
buff over
those
here.
What a good
Awesome.
date.
I don't know why, but I'm like that too. Like certain days like that are more prominent, they stand out, and it's like, yeah, I remember.
I used to be that way, and then a lot of trauma happened, and then I stopped caring about things so much.
I don't like to associate dates with anything anymore.
Let's not remember all those things.
It depends. I carry some dates. I don't others. It's like random. I don't know. Sometimes like there's really important things that I need to remember. Don't. Sometimes there's like really not very important things that I don't need to remember, and I definitely do. So
Yeah.
it just
Oddly
totally
enough.
fucking depends.
Oddly enough, Corey and I actually did not have an anniversary date. We never knew like what our anniversary date was. Like, so we never celebrated it ever.
Yeah.
And we just kind of like did but didn't. Like, yeah. But anyways, so, weird fact, but
I remember all the dates.
All the
remember-
dates.
You have
All
it?
the
Do you
dates.
write them down, or do you just know them?
I tend to just know them. I do put them in my calendar at some point, but
Like I don't even remember mom and dad's birthdays. Like I have to like look
Those
it up
are
every
easy.
year. No,
like I remember the days. Like I remember your birthday, Scott's birthday. Like I remember like close family members' birthdays and stuff.
Yeah.
And then obviously holidays. But other than that, like you know.
Yeah. I put a lot of that stuff in my phone nowadays. I feel like my iPhone has like ruined me for dates in the same way that like technology as a whole has ruined me for like spelling.
Oh no, really?
I mean, I can spell. I'm not as good as I used to be.
I guess
Or
I
as
could agree.
confident
Yeah.
maybe is
I
the
used to be
problem.
really like confident in my spelling capabilities, and I'm
Well, speaking of spelling,
Autocorrects me a
LGBTQIA+, I am the queen of unfortunate transitions. You're welcome.
So back to topic, yes.
Yeah.
Good job, Marilyn.
We are the comeback
It's half the
queens.
alphabet, and we're all here.
Yes. So I think we should start with kind of how we identify, or whether or not we kind of consider ourselves a part of the community, or
Like, what is
to
ours?
what
Ally,
capacity do
or-
we are. Yeah. So let's maybe start there. Who wants to start?
I can, well.
I think we all looked right at Sam for some reason.
I have my
Sam.
notes in the document.
I did not put my notes in the document.
Susie, I did look at you.
Oh, you looked at me? Oh, see, I'm all like, we looked
I think
at
I kind of went back
Sam.
and forth.
It was
Right.
that I wasn't really moving where I was already looking.
I mean, I guess
but
you couldn't really look.
So I have my notes in the document, but Susie's name is first in the document.
I mean, so honestly, I don't mind going first. So I'm pretty plain, to be quite honest.
She's so vanilla and straight.
I'm very vanilla. I am, I'm straight. I identify as a female, and I don't necessarily consider myself a part of that community, only in the sense that I feel like there's already a space for me, and I don't need to intrude upon that space. Like, I support it, and I know a lot of people, friends and family both, that obviously are in that community, and I to each their own, do what you want to do, and
Yeah.
it's not, it doesn't affect me in either way, shape, or form, like, so, that's kind of how I feel about that.
So your bachelorette party, right?
Bachelorette party.
Yeah, your bachelorette
Someday.
party. Gay bar, right?
I mean, I wouldn't be against that, I'm sure, only in the sense that whoever I would be
I've laid a
married.
trap. This was unfortunately this bit is not salvageable.
baiting you.
I will.
He's like, you need to have it be
He's
gay.
saying that you want those people to have their space, and then you're going to come up in their space.
Oh, gotcha. I'm welcome to all people.
No.
To
However
be
you want a
fair,
party.
if you ever get married, I'd probably be the one like throwing it, and we would probably do like a stripper for you. Because I know,
I'm not necessarily one that needs that done. I feel like I'm,
I mean,
I
I
don't
know
know.
you say that, but like, it might still happen.
She's like, I want it for me, damn it.
I mean, why wait for a wedding?
She was like, you don't need to have
Birthday,
a
Christmas, 4th of July.
Labor Day. I mean,
There's
it's not
a good
Labor Day.
day
We don't want
for
to put them to work on
stripper
Labor Day.
There's a man for that.
Oh man, funny.
But yes, so definitely. I
So
mean,
Susie does get a little down, you know.
Have you ever
but-
been to a strip club? Well,
I have not actually.
No.
Oh, why didn't I save that for the game?
that's my question, but I was like, man, I
Never
should
had
have
that.
said that.
Hey, you know what? It's still not too late. I can still throw that one out there. So
I've never
and everybody else is gonna be drinking but me. So no, I'm just kidding. But no, I honestly haven't. Like, I've obviously seen my fair share of them on movies. I know like kind of what they're about. But
You're a frequent Magic Mike viewer? No, I'm just kidding.
oh god, no! I've seen it a couple
Okay.
times, but I don't really like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gosh.
I'm not like an overly sexual person, I guess. Like, I mean, obviously I enjoy sex, but I'm not like, I don't know.
You're
Not all.
You're a little more reserved about
I'm
it.
reserved about what,
Yeah.
like I'm not an out there about my sexual experiences type of person, I guess. Like, I'm very modest.
Yeah.
I'm kind of not
I'm
super
very shy.
sexual, but I think it's just like I'm not super sexual.
Yeah, like, I mean, and that's kind of how I am. Like, I don't know.
I have sex, but it's not a
typical
it's not an up
topic
there
of
necessity.
interest.
Like I feel sometimes, like for other people, it's more higher on their needs, and for me, that's lower on my needs. It's
Yeah.
not something I need filled frequently.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
Like, there's a respectable cadence. You have to expect it at certain intervals, otherwise.
Yeah, like, I don't know. To me, that's something that obviously, like, you and whoever you're partnered with obviously you have to be like kind of on the same page on like how frequent
Yeah.
the expectations are and all that. But you know, it's one
Well,
of those
so
things.
I'll go next because I have like
We went there.
I got a
man.
whole
thing.
lot.
Yeah, your own alphabet soup.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this has actually been disclosed on the podcast yet, but I've recently like started identifying as non-binary. I just always feel like there's like when you're associated with a woman, that society expects you to show up a certain way, and there's already like a predetermination of the way you're supposed to show up because you identify as a woman. And that's a really shitty thing that society does, but I just felt a lot of pressure from that. And it, I knew I was going to cry in this episode. It was just set up for me to cry.
I'm sorry.
But,
See?
like, yeah, so I feel like I tried to fit into that mold for most of my life and just, you know, doing the things that girls are supposed to do because that's what
Yeah.
That's
you're
what you're
expected.
expected.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know if it's something of our generation because I feel like a lot of like 80s, 90s kids like kind of felt like they were expected to be a certain way about a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
I can relate to that feeling in a general sense, like just because, yeah, like when you are a female, you sort of do, and I'm sure that men can relate to this in the opposite sense too, from what, like, you know, when they have to be masculine, they can't cry, they can't,
yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
then women are obviously viewed as more like, not, and this is more general, and this is kind of just the way that obviously Western society kind of has made it out to be, like, and you said in our generation, but yeah, like kind of that women are of the weaker sex, or like that we're,
Yeah, and like
whatever.
I just feel
But-
like we're all fucking humans. Like, can't we
Yeah.
just identify and like not have a predecessed like
I can see
thing
that,
on, just
like-
because of our like the way we were, like we didn't have a choice of the way we were born, like, you know. So why is there a preset thing on how we're supposed to show up
Yeah.
on something that we had no choice over?
But I think this has like a lot to do with like the culture that we live in and the patriarchal values that we assign to
For sure.
certain genders, and it's just
Well,
I mean,
because it could be like applied to like your race also. You're like nobody chooses that. That's how you're born, and still society
Yeah.
like
boxes you up into a certain
treats it like
category.
it's something that
Yeah.
you have to be treated different by. And
yeah, we don't treat things with the nuance that they are due. Like we're very dualistic about things, and we're like things have to be this way or that way, and then we like sort of ignore
Well,
like all
like-
the in between and the nuance. And
And
the,
not gonna lie, like, so and this is gonna probably sound kind of bad, and I don't mean for it to be, but like, I was kind of like, I've never felt like ashamed about giving into some of those ways that society molds us to be, I guess. Like, for instance, like being a woman, and kind of, I'm sure that in society they kind of tend to sexualize women, so you have to like have the boobs and have the cleavage and have the looks and have the hair and have the eyelashes and da-da-da. So like I do tend to kind of give into like, you know, doing my mascara or doing my eyeliner or like wearing my bras that I like, or like, you know, I do. But for me, it's more comfortable for me to feel
you enjoy
I-
it's something you actually enjoy and not something that you're just doing because
they
you're
make me
expected
do
to
it.
do
Yeah,
that.
like I think growing up,
Like-
it was sort of like how I became like more accepted in society, and so that is where my comfort zone like became there. But I haven't necessarily felt like that was taking up my space or my identity as a person
Yeah.
either. Like I identified well with that, so it didn't hurt me in any way, shape, or
Right.
form. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But for
but you're
those
starting to recognize that there are
individuals
people that don't necessarily feel that
yeah,
way.
like if a girl
Yeah.
doesn't feel like wearing a dress or wearing a bra or shaving her armpits for that matter, like why should anyone really have to do that because the society that they're brought up in is expecting them to? And I understand
Yeah.
that viewpoint, like, but yeah,
Well,
I mean,
So what are your
I think like part of my, well, I mean, like a lot of the podcast listeners, if they're regulars, they know like that I've been sexually assaulted before. So that also like, I don't know, might have, that's kind of why I don't
have
really
fed some into that?
Points
have
of
so
view.
much of a positive view relating to being a woman because it's always has been abused against me, you know?
right.
So,
Yeah.
And
so that's part of my alphabet soup. Let's refocus. We're still going through this. But then, so I'm bisexual. I don't really care what your gender is. But then I also identify as solo polyamorous. I don't know. I've just always like when I have best friends, I have like best friends. Sorry, I'm gonna cry this whole episode.
I have been on every episode crying.
Man.
I always feel like I'm the only one, so it's okay.
It's my turn to cry a whole episode, okay? But yeah, I just feel like I don't really know how to put a cap on love. And since for me, sex is like a low need anyways, that's usually not a barrier between like I don't have a preference to have multiple sexual partners, but I definitely have multiple loves at the same time in my life and like have the capacity to love multiple people in different ways. And I just think there's a whole lot of different ways that you can show up for somebody without it being a sexual relationship. And I don't consider, I love limitlessly.
Well, honestly,
I don't even know how to say it.
I kind of like the way that you put that in a sense, though, because, like, for instance, I remember, like, there were times, like, and I'm gonna cry too, but there were times when, like, me and Corey obviously were in our relationship, and he was my only, you know, like, he literally. But anyways, I feel like, you know, I had my crushes on people still outside of him, and I didn't mean to. I didn't want to, but I just got close to people, and then, you know, like you said, you just kind of, you care about those people, and you show up for those people, and those people show up for you, and like you said, it's not a sexual thing, but sometimes you feel like that extra.
I feel like society wants you to think it's cheating at some point, and they want to draw a line somewhere. And
I feel like, society makes you feel like once you choose your person, that's the person, the only person, and obviously, and it's not necessarily wrong to have that, and I always like the stability and the security of having just that one, but at the same time, it is understandable, like, if that one person, obviously, like, is close to other people, like, but I would like, in my relationships anyways, the respect of the partner to not get intimate with those people, obviously, without, you know, I
think that's something that you sort of have to discuss with your partner. What are you guys' experience with that?
Yes, so
I haven't heard from our guests almost at all. Yes, so quiet over here.
I was being quiet until it was my turn for alphabet soup because I got my own list to go through.
Well, I'll just finish mine. So I kind of emphasize this, that I'm solo polyamorous, just because I would prefer to live in my own space. I like to have my own time and to just, like, I can't be with my partner no matter how much I love him. Like, I'm married to a cis male, like, he's a straight cut male. And, like, I just need my own space. Sometimes, like, we've talked about, like, having separate bedrooms in our house, or, like, I want to get, like, a bus and live in it and drive across the country. I was like, yeah, but you gotta have your own bus, so, like, I'll have my own bus and you can drive a separate one, and this will be mine, but I just require my own space and personal time, and that's my highest priority over any of my relationships, even my marriage, and so, I just need to emphasize loving me. And that wraps me up.
And
that's your whole bowl of soup.
That's my alphabet soup.
So Steve.
To my bowl of vanilla ice cream over here.
That's okay. Some people really, I like vanilla ice cream.
She's like, I like vanilla ice cream. Don't get me wrong.
Everyone likes vanilla ice cream. That's why it's sold at every ice cream store.
Yep.
It's the base of all the greatest ones. Okay.
So my alphabet soup. A lot of it can mirror what you went through. So also bisexual, and not in the binary way of thinking that there's only two genders. The bisexual umbrella that includes pansexuality of being attracted to multiple genders. I'm also demisexual, which is part of the asexual spectrum. I tend to need some kind of an emotional connection before I am sexually attracted to somebody, and we're going to be discussing attraction more later, so I'm sure that'll get explored more. And then I'm ambiamorous, which is ambi, the prefix kind of like ambidextrous. You can use either hand. I can work within a monogamous relationship and I can work within a polyamorous relationship. I tend to mirror what my partner needs because either works for me. And I'm cisgender, so I was assigned male at birth and I identify as a male. But I do feminine things. And so from my own personal experience, instead of like being non-binary, I make the term male like larger and flexible and say like...
You're just not drawing a line where what male means, putting it in a box.
Yeah. So like I paint my nails, for example, and instead of being like, well, that's a thing women do and I'm doing it. Well, no, men can paint their nails. Like other people need to expand their definition.
Yeah. I like that actually. I mean,
trying to push back against this. You know, I was like kind of like thinking that on my way here. I was like, I am still kind of like, I don't get super offended like when people define me as a female or, you know, but
maybe you just have that in the back of your, like you said, maybe because of like the sexual trauma you've been through. Because
it's more of the way society
like
assumes wants me to show up as a female. That like just
makes you like no,
like
And then it's not really part of the alphabet soup like the LGBTQIAA+++++. But also I'm part of the kink community, and that plays a big part in a lot of my interactions as well. So.
Very cool.
Can you imagine?
What?
I was like, what?
No, I had no idea.
I'm so offended. Is this like Maury?
Yes, you are the father.
That raises even further questions.
Exactly.
So 9.
Hi.
What's your experience?
not to put the pressure on the hot.
All right, so the format we've apparently established is sexuality, your relation to your sexuality, your relation to love, and the multitudes of partners, followed by your gender identity.
I have not been taking notes.
And for those reasons, I am a bisexual individual. My attractions are typically lean towards, I don't even know what the word properly is. It's probably like masculine energy is probably the best way to describe it, but it's not exclusive to that. Contrary to, I think, maybe everyone at the room so far, I am a hypersexual individual. Have been since I was very, very young. Anyhow.
Welcome to the family!
Glad to have you.
Yeah, so my experience is different. But that's cool. I'm sure we will talk more about that in the near future. As to the question of the relationship model that works for me, I met Sir.
Steve.
All right, cool. Normally I wouldn't question that, but I met Sir.
I mean, he said he was in the key community, so I think we're good with that.
I guess, I met. Oh gosh, I'm totally lost in where I'm at right now because I just got so flustered.
So basically, just throwing this out there for the viewers, Steve is also referred to as Sir. So just if you didn't pick that up,
I think that was clear.
Yeah, so
oh, okay. I don't know.
You might be high. So.
okay.
Just clarifying. You can edit it out if you need to. I don't know.
So when I went Sir, I was in a relationship with 2 other individuals at that point in time. Sir was in a relationship with another individual at that point in time, and there was like, I think, a constellation of 11-ish people that were all interwoven and related.
Our polycule.
Yeah, we had a polycule for a while. There was an image of it to keep track of. I mean, I made the image.
Pie chart.
But
on Homeland,
like a schedule.
Yeah.
Schedule.
There was a mysterious person dangling off the end whose name I didn't quite know, but you didn't need the full image, right? Well, who am I to question someone else's love of their love? Yeah, and then also I am a cis man. I have my gender expression has never really been limited by that title. I've always expressed my queerness from like a very, very young age, which made me very popular, very radically and loudly. And so, you'll find me in heels, in a jockstrap, at a nightclub near you. Maybe not near you specifically, but the next one over, mayhaps.
He's like, that's me.
That might be me. If I look good, compliment me. If I don't, keep it to yourself.
I think that's like words anybody can live by in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Is that your alphabet soup?
I think that's like mostly my alphabet soup. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Isn't this great that the first time you're on a podcast we get super intimate?
I was gonna say, can I just say I love that we're doing this episode and I'm learning these things about you, Nine? Like, this is very interesting things.
Just it's a fun saga to unfold with people who have maybe never heard about all of the weird things I get up
The
to.
experiences.
The experiences I partake in.
And that's, I think, why we wanted to
there's
have
a big
this
car
episode, was
outside.
because there's a lot of, different experiences within this community.
My intro to the viewers was just them hearing me hum badly, so...
Yes, we're going to be doing a bonus.
Yeah.
So, and if you're Patreon, you'll have access to it.
Bonus
Yeah.
Just
episode.
saying. Thanks, Steve.
What about you, Marilyn?
So, I sort of hate labels, but if I had to label myself, I would probably say that I am pan. Although I like how Nine put it, that you tend towards like attraction to masculinity, because most of the women I'm attracted to tend to be more masculine, but not exclusively, but mostly. So, but also, as Steve put it, he doesn't do like the gender binary. Like, I'm also like gender queer, whatever. I'm attracted to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It more depends on the person to me than anything else, really. Although if I tend toward trans masculinity, generally, no matter what the person, it tends to be something that attracts me.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Makes sense.
As far as, I mean, I am a cis female. I tend towards femininity, pretty much. I mean, you've seen my winged liner if you've ever seen me on a picture online, and my pink hair. So, and then, let's see, what else? My relationship dynamic that works best for me is single, but I am pretty hypersexual when I am in a relationship.
Oh. I'm
So-
not alone.
Yeah, you are not alone, actually. But I also just like don't like other people's bullshit. So sometimes it's just easier to just be single because my hand works just as well as any person I've been with so far. And maybe that means I just need to slut it up a little, but you know, I've also got body issues, so here we are.
Hey, girl, there's Tinder out there.
I am not getting on Tinder. No, I'm good, thanks.
That's how you get other.
That's how you get other friends than what you really want to have.
What you want, what
Maybe
you really
Bumble,
want.
I don't know. We'll see.
I know you say nothing can compete with your hand, but have you tried Hitachi Magic Wand yet?
No. I do have a vibrator.
I have one because Steve. Steve, like, I don't remember if it was like one of your newer experiences with it, but I remember I don't know if it was just me you were telling. I don't even remember, but you were like, yeah, it's like the best thing ever.
It's the best thing ever.
I mean, I don't know about Susie, but I think my toy supply is probably the most limited at this table, so.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we know what we're getting Marilyn for Christmas.
Oh my god. Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's great.
You will. There's a guarantee. Let us know if you don't. We'll get our money back.
All right.
By the way, this is not sponsored by Hitachi, but we could be.
If you're listening.
Reach out. Visit our
Code
website.
below.
Oh man. So I think we've gone through every. Was there anything else that you guys were wondering about that I didn't address? I didn't take notes.
Did you prefer, like, within monogamy and polyamory, a preference there?
I feel like life experience has told me that we are not necessarily meant to be monogamous people. But at the same time, I've had trauma that would probably make me feel like I need to be in that kind of relationship. So I'd have to like find some happy medium of that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know. It's something I'd have to broach at the time of, you know, the relationship and see where my partner was at and where I was at. And, you know, we'd have to like kind of discuss and go through that together, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Yeah. But I think I could be possibly flexible on that question.
Sure.
Yeah. Depending on the relationship dynamic, I guess.
Communication, it's a wonderful thing.
It really is, you know? It helps a lot of things. For sure. So, what about like significant coming out stories? Because I feel like I may have surprised a couple of people at this table when I said what I said, but I'm not 100% sure.
I did not know some of what you said, but
Yeah.
But
you know I have pink hair, so no, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's more of like you haven't said explicitly in either direction, and
Yeah.
so I just didn't assume.
Yeah.
Like you could be any of it, and I didn't
Yeah.
know where. So
Yeah, and I think you know that I'm like generally supportive of the
Oh, yeah.
fluidity too. So it's like probably wasn't entirely outside of the realm of possibility in your eyes, I'm sure. So I have talked about it a little bit on TikTok and with a couple of other people, but
I mean, being your sister, I guess I didn't really realize that you had the other way direction, a possibility in your head, I guess. I just always assumed that you were straight just because of past relationships.
I mean, we
But other
usually
than that,
just talk about men, so it just kind of happened that way.
yeah, like we just never really had
Yeah.
the discussion before, so.
Yeah.
But it doesn't like obviously change anything. Like
Yeah. Well, I know
You're
that.
you,
So. I do remember like one time a long time ago, Mom and I were having a conversation and I said something like, and I was really young at the time. I was maybe like in my teens. And I said something like, I don't feel like I could ever close myself off to the possibility of loving a woman. Of course, at the time, I didn't have like this sort of nuanced understanding of like the sexual spectrum and things like that. You know what I mean? But she says like,
it just logically didn't
right.
make sense to you either. Like
Right. Well, I mean, I was like maybe 13, 14, 15 at the time. I can't remember, but I was a fairly young teen, and I told her this, and and then I think there was like one time she asked me if I was a lesbian because I was going to it was a gay club in town with friends when I was like college age. And I was like, no, I'm not a lesbian, which is true because I'm not technically a lesbian.
it's like I'm not, but I wanted to go.
But yeah. So does anyone else have like any significant coming out stories that they want to share?
I've got a bunch.
Coming out to who and what?
Yeah. I don't have to start, but I can.
Yeah, go for it. We're all sitting back like.
So like, where's yours on like the trauma comedy scale?
The
trauma comedy, because we can now arch this.
Well, the first one I was going to tell was on the trauma scale.
Okay, that's a good start. Let's start with trauma. We can.
I have a feeling I
Let's start
might
with there.
Yeah.
It's on cue with our podcast.
We're somewhere between, yeah.
I'm sorry.
So my first of my alphabet soup that I came out as was the bisexual, and it was very intermingled with trauma and a lot of like self-repression that was perpetuated by my ex-wife in being in a very emotionally abusive relationship. And so when I finally came out, that coming out coincided with our separation. And the very first person that I said it out loud to was earlier in that day. It was a coworker when I was working in the food industry, and I remember going over to her house, and I was already crying. I was like sobbing in the car on the way over, and the first words I said when I came in is, "I'm pretty sure that I messed up my entire life," and then I used the word bisexual for the first time, and she really helped just calm me down. And this person is pansexual, and so was able to just like, kind of share the journey that she had been on.
Yeah.
And then I went home and told my ex-wife, and it was a piece of it. At the time, I didn't realize like how much emotional abuse I was blinded by it because I was in it. It's taken a lot of years to be able to go back and like recognize just how damaging all of it was. So all I knew at the time was this wasn't healthy, something was wrong, and there needed to be a separation. So I initiated the separation. And in that initiating of the separation, came out as bisexual to my ex-wife. And I think, I don't know for sure because she never really communicated after this with me, but I think she attached a lot of the separation on that piece, but that is not necessarily what it was all about. Going along with that, I remember talking to lawyers and her specifically saying, well, like, none of this matters because I could never be with a gay person anyway. And so, like, very early on was being mislabeled, even though I had explicitly said bisexual. Yeah. She immediately converted it into her mind as that I was gay. So, fun times.
Yeah. Like, maybe to soften the mood, but I remember when you came out to me, like, shortly after that, because you were also telling me that you were separating from her, and we were at the mall and eating Chinese or something, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I think you were surprised maybe by my reaction because I wasn't, like, put off really by it. I don't know. It's
not that I was surprised. It was more like, I'm new to this type of conversation. I don't know. I specifically remember what you said. You were like, okay, but, like, what do I care? You're my brother. And I took it, like, the tone of it as, like, you don't want to sleep with me, so your partners are irrelevant. Like, I'm not an option, so why do I care?
Why do I need to know this information specifically?
Right.
Well, I probably meant it more like, I don't care because I love you, like, because you're my brother, not like...
No, I know.
Because I'm not going to be your partner.
It was the tone of it. It was just like, I don't care because it's not an option.
Well, it's funny to me in the sense that... oh my god, I can't believe I'm going to say this. When I was little... Did your mom ever tell you that I thought I was going to marry you?
No.
I swear to God, when I was a kid.
Like, real little.
Like, I was real little, but, like, I was like, oh, I love Steve. I want to marry him. And I was like, you can't marry him. It was so funny. But anyways, yeah.
Thank goodness for government. Or, like, decreeing who we cannot date.
Thank goodness for parents.
Right, that too. Right.
No.
Oh, man.
I mean, if you go south far enough in this country, though. Anyways.
Sorry, that was a little off topic.
Dylan claimed he wants to marry me a couple times.
I remember when I was 4 years old,
Dylan, no.
my mom was having me go to bed, and so we did, like, a goodnight kiss goodnight, and I said, no, I want a real kiss. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I want the kiss like they do in the movies. I want an adult kiss. And my mom was like, no, we do not adult kiss.
So Mom used to watch soap operas a lot, and they adult kissed all the time. I was going to bed one night, and I tried to kiss her on her soap operas. I don't remember how old I was, but, like, I think it was just because we saw that all the time.
That's so funny that we did the same
when
thing.
The Sims comes out and they have the romantic grab each other kiss with the romantic music, like, yeah, just like that.
Oh my goodness.
The days of our lives is ruining the children.
It literally was Days of Our Lives.
It was.
I babysat them for a summer. She used to always have me turn it on for her lunch break, so she'd catch
season
like
are
20
they
minutes of
on?
that.
It's still airing to this day.
Yeah, she's
I'm
still
pretty sure.
Oh my
like
God.
sands through the hourglass.
The Days of Our Lives.
Teaching sex to children for years and years.
Yeah, I got my moves from Days of Our Lives.
Oh my god.
Well, I have a bunch more stories, but other people can intertwine like,
Yeah, we'll
intertwine
try
her
to-
stories.
You want like a lighthearted overreact. My mother's she's got her master's in theater, like has been involved in theater her whole life. She's been surrounded by queer people her whole life, and I was still concerned that she was going to feel some sort of way about me coming out. So when I was like 17, first slept with a dude. It's like, oh dang, turns out I like this. Like immediately came out to all my friends the next day. Was going to UW-Madison at the time, which is a liberal school, so everyone was like, chill. Fast forward to that summer when I was working, parents still didn't know, and there was this guy I liked, total nerd, DDR player. Yep.
Was it me?
It's the same profile. He was also a ginger. Turns out
He has a type.
I do have a type. Anyhow, this one night we ended up making out, and I was really into him, and I was getting off of work one night, so I get home, I don't know, 11:30 at night, and I have to work like first shift the next morning. So I have like, I don't know, a set number of hours. Asked to borrow a car to go see this guy, but my parents, don't know, like they're like, why are you going out? You work
context
tomorrow,
of-
right? She's like, and I'm fighting, and I'm like, listen, like, I'm trying to like get permission to go, and eventually she was like, "Well, why do you want to go so bad?" And it's like, "Well, because I'm queer." And then it was, "Oh, okay, sit down and we'll talk about it." And she was like really great and really fine. She told my father because I didn't want to deal with that conversation, even though I probably should have. In hindsight, I should have given him more credit. But they've been pretty exceptional the whole way through. There have been queer like people in my life since I was growing up. Like my parents kept queer company, so it was never like a bad thing. It was just something that I built up in my head. I think a lot of queer kids build up this idea in their head of what they think it's going to be and catastrophize it and make it a lot worse than the reality of the situation. But yeah, it's a scary thing at first. So I didn't have reason to be scared, but I sure was.
Yeah. Well, I think there are just so many people still who are not accepting of it, and which blows my mind still how many people still.
We're coming
are like
around
that,
as the world. But
I think we're making progress, but there's still a long way to go. I think.
I shouldn't say the world because never mind.
So much.
In the U.S. we're getting there, but although I have heard there's I have a friend that is also gay, and when he goes to the gay pride parades every year, he talks about the wall or like just the streets of hate of people with signs still to this day that just like protest it, and how like just shameful it is to walk past them. And it's like, dude, like people just need to get a better, like, use their time to better things. Like, why put your energy into hating on people when you could just find something else that you love and just put your energy into that instead? Like, people
Go
are
do
just...
a puzzle. Like, come on.
Yeah, go do a puzzle. Go Netflix
Bake some
by
bread or
yourself.
something.
Smoke some weed.
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a wall of people. I would describe loose pockets of some of the friendliest folks you'll meet with signs, but like it's I've never seen like more than 24 of them in a place. Like, fortunately, it's a very minority opinion. Have you ever seen a gathering of more of them?
Well, no, but I was shaking my head regarding the like "Don't Say Gay" that's happening in Florida, and all of the trans rights that are getting taken away in Texas, and so there's
a lot more progress.
I would
to
absolutely
make.
agree that those are absolutely problems that are happening right
They're
now.
taking away their rights?
Yeah.
What?
I'll have to send you some stuff too. That's bad.
How many times have I been called the F slur on the streets of Chicago in the last year?
twice, I think, where I was there.
Room for improvement. Is it better than it was? Yeah, sure. Like, gay people are no longer dying from epidemics.
Yeah.
More so than anybody else nowadays. We've come a long way as far as public acceptance, but
Still a far way to go.
Yeah.
it could be better. But,
Absolutely agree.
I'll take what I can get. I'm super appreciative to my queer people for doing a lot of really important work to get us the rights that we do have. Just hoping to carry that torch forward.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get through this wave of backlash for like all the significant, achievements that we've had over the last several years. I mean, you always see like some wave of backlash to these things, any sort of forward movement, which sucks.
There's always a pendulum.
Yeah. But we will continue to fight. Contact your legislators.
If you're on our side.
Right write the word gay on a postcard all over the postcard. Ship it to
Send
that
it.
one politician that'll be in the show notes, maybe.
Yes.
Oh man. Maybe I need to find somebody on TikTok to create one of those like letter generators, or maybe someone probably already has created one of those letter generators, like the automated ones. I'm gonna hunt someone down before we post this episode.
And do they still have fax lines? These old government buildings? I have to imagine they do.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just send gay. Just send gay to Florida.
Do it. Get into some good trouble. I think that sounds like a good idea.
I mean, like, the FCC, I think, will only ever, like, pursue prosecution if what you're doing could be construed as, like,
Harmful.
criminally trying to interrupt them. So if just, like, everyone, you know, we've got a couple 100 million people in the country. We just need to get them all to fax simultaneously.
Yeah.
Then
One
it's not a
month.
crime.
Break it. We're all just trying to get through, you know? No big deal. Mhm.
Any
So
other coming
actually-
out? Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
no. Go ahead. Nope. You're right.
I was just asking if there's
Yep.
any more coming
I
out.
was trying to get back to the, yeah.
Do you have any coming out stories?
Nope.
I
I feel like none of mine were really, like, the majority of my coming out was probably on Facebook. Like,
Yeah.
I don't tell people, like, explicitly. I don't really feel
Yeah.
like I need to explain myself. You know, I just am
I
what
don't
I am.
actively look for
So-
relationships, so I feel like I've never really had to label myself. So I'm just kind of like, whatever.
Same. I honestly
talk
didn't
about
know
it
there
on
were
a
so many labels for all
case-by-case
these
basis.
things. I'm like, I don't know. I'm a cis female and a what? I'm a
What?
It was a whole learning experience.
Well, Trevor said the same thing. I was like, well, you're
Many
crazy. You're
labels.
just like a cis mono male. Like, you're heterosexual. And he's like, I don't know.
He's probably
like,
like,
he's
"There's a lot
like,
of
what am
words,
I?
kid."
Well, he's like, what? And I'm like, he didn't know what a cis male, like, what that meant. So
I didn't either, honestly. I was like, cis male. What does it mean? Like, cis.
Cisgender heterosexual.
What does CI, is it an
Like,
acronym for
cisgender
something?
means
No.
like you perform in the way that society would kind of quasi expect you to perform. I guess, is that a
You're
good
your
way of
birth
explaining
gender.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
your gender, aligns with the gender
The
that
sex
was assigned
that
to you
was
based on
assigned
the
to you at
sex
birth.
that was assigned to you at birth.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, I had no idea this word existed.
It's like the opposite of trans, right? So a trans person's gender is different than the gender that was prescribed to them based on their sex assigned at birth.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that makes more sense to me in my brain of
Yeah.
why it's referred to as that. Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious about the actual literal meaning. Like, yes, the prefix cis, a prefix occurring in the loan words from the Latin meaning, quote, on the near side of, on this side of. So I guess there's some etymology.
Yeah, sure. Word nerds unite. Yeah.
I learned something.
Any other coming out stories we want to share?
Well, I have a coming out story that coincided with a question.
Yeah.
Because I also had a
Are you coming out right now?
no.
That was my
Wait,
question.
adding to my alphabet soup.
I also did a coming out on Facebook after I talked to a lot of people individually, like close family, close friends. Then I did a post on Facebook, and it was like a redirect. My post was very much of like, hey, I focused on I have a deformity on a toe because of a surgery I had as a kid, and like all of my mental thinking regarding that and how it's just been a part of me, and people don't really get to see my toe a lot, and then at the end of it I was like, oh, and by the way, I'm bisexual. Like, oh, do you get it? It's the
You read all.
same.
Yeah.
But I'm curious because I had one-on-ones with the two of you. I don't think we did a one-on-one coming out. So how did you find out? Did you see that post?
I read that post. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like around the time that you came out specifically, you were especially trying to like be a voice not just for yourself but for other people in the community at the time, and you would like really explain yourself on your Facebook post and just be really vulnerable, and thought it was really awesome.
I deep dove into the advocacy of queerness for sure. I
Yeah.
like took on my identities, and I was immediately like, I'm gonna educate the
This
masses.
is what I'm doing.
I'm trying to remember like the coming out thing for me, because with you, I mean, when you came out, I'm trying to remember if I already knew, or I mean, not in the sense that you told me or verified it with me, but so I can't remember if you told me about your bisexuality or if it was like filtered through your ex-wife, because we were friends. We were in a friend group, and
And we're all roommates.
One of my best friends. Yeah, we roommated for a while. We roommated. What?
We go back.
We were roommates for like a couple of years. Yeah, and that included her. And so we were friends, and we had plans that night, like the night that everything sort of went down. And
you
then
went to see Brave.
we went to see. Yeah, it was like a double feature. We went and saw Brave, and like I think like one of the DC it was a Marvel movie. I think I can't remember. But anyways, yeah, we went to like the outdoor theater. And Steve was supposed to come, I think, and then he ended up not coming. And then she spent the night with my best friend and I, who were also friends with her, and Steve. So it was like a whole friend group thing. So I can't remember if that came up during that night or not. It might have been through you. I feel like I learned about something like your kink thing secondhand, though, because that kind of came out at the time, too, to a select few people.
Yes. Yeah, it all started
around that time.
Together.
I can't remember.
But I'm thinking it probably was through her, because I have a pretty good memory. I don't remember having a specific
I don't remember having a specific conversation either. I mean, I remember like tidbits of conversations that we've had about it, but I don't remember us sitting down and you being like, so I need to tell you something. Mm-hmm. This is what's going on. I am bisexual. Like, I don't remember that happening. And I feel like it must be because it was filtered through the ex-wife.
Probably.
So But to be honest, I wasn't really like completely surprised by it or anything like that. I never completely assumed that you were straight anyway, if I'm being completely honest about it. Not that I want to like ascribe things on people, but it just wouldn't have surprised me if you ever came out. And
which is a great segue to my coming out to my mother, because the first time I came out to her, it was again during this like very traumatic time. During the separation, my ex and I were in therapy, and the therapist said that I should write a letter of like in what ways are we not compatible. Looking back, I thought it's a very odd assignment for a therapist to give during like relationship counseling. But anyways, so in part of that, so before I knew very much about asexuality and within that demisexuality, in this letter I wrote about her jealousy and how it was so severe. It like damaged a lot of friendships I had, and it made me really turn off a lot of my sexuality, and I felt asexual. Mm-hmm. And so my mom was going over this letter. I'm like, I just want to make sure it makes sense. I was really nervous about presenting this letter. And my mom got to the asexual part, and she goes, asexual? What's that? What's that mean? And so I said, oh, that means that you don't have any sexual attraction towards anyone or anything. And my mom was like, oh, okay. So do you ever feel like gay or anything? Like just straight up went for it. And then that's when I was like, well, Mom, I'm bisexual. And then we had the conversation about it. So
yeah. I feel like, I don't know if you like specifically came out to Mom about your kink stuff, but I feel like I've probably heard more about your kink stuff filtered through Mom than from direct.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard some things from her.
Oh, I was very open with Mom. Yeah. Mom has looked over power dynamic contracts that I've drafted before we had our YouTube video of going over.
Ooh, we should like link to that YouTube
I'll link to
video.
it on the Patreon.
But before that video, I had my mom was just like asking questions. I was like, you can just look at my inventory. I have it all here in a spreadsheet. So she went through and asked questions about what everything was. And,
nice. Yeah, and we did our thing. That was so fun. Because I feel like your mom kind of felt comfortable telling me about some of your kink things because she knew that we talked about things. Like we have those two. What did we do? How many times were you on my channel? Like twice?
Yeah, we talked about 50 Shades of Grey when it first came out as a movie, and then we went through my gear bag.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I saw the 50 Shades of Grey one, but I didn't see the gear bag one.
You haven't?
No.
I haven't seen the 50 Shades of Grey, but I saw what's in my...
The gear bag one is so fun.
That one's classic.
Content and
You haven't seen the one with the butt plug that she's like, why is this color?
Oh God, no, I have not.
Certain chemicals leach. It happens.
I feel like a vast majority of the friends that I've met of yours, Steve, know me because of that video, or knew me first.
Probably because
are the ones who I've met after that fact. Yeah,
because I was so proud of that video. I wanted to show it to everybody. It's
I
so
showed it
fun.
to people because
It was
I thought
funny.
it was.
It's
I was like,
hilarious.
"This is my brother." Isn't he awesome? Like in my cousin. Like, aren't they cool?
I have a great picture of Dylan when I think it was showing it to Mom for the first time. And so there's a screen cap of you like paused in the background holding the pup tail and Dylan holding a stuffed animal and just looking at the TV. So good.
So like me and Mom were watching the
God.
episode with.
I think so. I mean, he was like 1 or 2 years old.
Yeah.
He didn't know what was happening, but it's just like a little kid looking up at Aunt Mirror, holding the butt plug.
and Uncle Steve. Oh man, so funny. That was so much fun though. We had like so much fun doing that. I learned so much that day. I mean, I knew a lot of it, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
like, I was surprised at how much I did know. But there was, like, a few things that, like, I had no idea about. So it was pretty cool.
I have a feeling I need to watch it so I can learn a few things.
I thought I showed it to you.
I'm, like, shocked that you have not seen this.
Mine too.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what's in the
I've
bag,
seen
Steve.
it.
Well,
Yeah,
when we're
it's
on our
nice.
break, we can show
Like a
you.
30-minute video or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
we can get-
It's going through all of the gear, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so you're holding it in your hands and you're...
Ask
like-
me what it's used
Yeah, I think-
for. She
yeah, I
has to
think that's
try
what
and
it
guess
was.
what it was used for, I think.
Oh.
And if
Yeah.
she guessed correctly so many times, like, she won. And
Yeah, I think we were keeping points and then you had to tweet something on my thing because I
mean,
lost.
why
but
not make a game out of it? It makes it
Exactly.
We
fun.
gamified it, you know, as we want to do.
Speaking of games, segue.
well, I don't think we're
I
there
don't know.
yet.
Are we through
Oh, okay.
everybody? I don't know if we are or not. We can move to the game if we're through everyone. I just.
Where are we going
I guess that's pretty far down
well,
to jump.
to
You're
our
right. Yeah,
attractions
never mind. I guess that's your
people?
two whole categories.
I was going to say, yeah, I've got a lot to say about attraction.
Yeah, me
Yeah, we
too.
skipped the whole how we're attracted
Can
to
we
people.
Sorry.
maybe? I'm oh gosh.
Take a break?
You want to have a
Yeah,
cigarette
please.
break, right?
I don't
Pause.
A short time later.
All right. So I don't know if this is going to be literally a part 2, but we did just take a short break. So we're coming back after refreshing my coffee, some small other kinds of breaks here and there. We got some snacks on the table.
We got
Snacks.
some snacks.
I think this is a good place to kind of transition to what our next topic was, and we've kind of hinted towards it, but we wanted to talk a little bit about like what attracts us to people. So, who wants to jump in?
Sure, I'll jump in.
Okay.
I think about this a lot, and I used to help lead a bisexual discussion group that was people on all different levels of their journey, and so I tried to like do as much as I could to help contextualize what people are going through and thinking. And so I landed on there's 7 types of attraction. If you Google this stuff, like some people will say there's 5 and some people say there's 10 and like numbers vary, but I found 7 that I really like. And those are romantic, sexual, sensual, aesthetic, emotional, intellectual, and financial. In my
Is he like all tabs over there? We see a coy smile.
I'm taking notes right now so that I can respond in a similar fashion. And there just became 7 categories.
You're taking
I'm gonna
notes,
cheat off your
right?
notes.
You got your notes?
I missed a number of those, but I'm happy. I think we'll get a rebound because I
Okay.
think there's an explanation coming.
yeah, I'm gonna kind of talk about those a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, anytime that you are willingly interacting with somebody else, like you actually want to do something with that person, it is because you have one of those 7 attractions to them. And so it could be a family member and you both just really care about each other and you're invested in each other's lives and want to know about each other. And so you have a very high emotional attraction to that person. Or it could be like you just want to have sex with them. And so you have a very high sexual attraction. It could be financial. So like I talk to my boss at work because I have to get a job done in order to get money. So literally the only reason I'm talking to my boss is for the cash. So I have a financial attraction to my boss.
Yeah.
And that can apply to like all over the place. Like when you're talking to a cashier in a store, it's because of a financial attraction to them.
Transaction.
You're getting a monetary or
It could be like a sugar baby relationship, even.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in that case, one person might have a financial attraction for the other, and then the other person might be getting something else out of the relationship, like a sexual, there's a sexual attraction fulfilled.
Why not just emotional? Why can't it just be companionate?
It could be.
Wow.
I follow some
Social for emotional?
TikTokers who are, what do they call it? It's a monogamous life partner, basically, or not a monogamous. It's a
Platonic?
platonic life partner. Yes.
Yep. So part of the 7 is the romantic attraction, and I have found that people have a really hard time defining romantic attraction without
Outside of
using the
sex.
word romantic.
Oh, okay.
So do y'all want to try?
I'll try. What's the word I can't say?
You can't
I
say
can't
romance or romantic.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is romantic attraction?
Ooh, this is harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I think would maybe roughly be defined as something like feelings of. I was going to be like not necessarily sexual, but like, kind of like the space between that and emotional. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a mix up of the two, sort of.
So a
In
lot
my
of the
eyes.
attractions do feed into each other for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm at a loss.
Anyone else want to try?
It's definitely harder than I thought it was going to be.
You already know the answer.
I don't know the answer, but I want to guess
No, I'm
at
just
it.
kidding.
I've told you, but
Yeah, well, I
you don't remember.
He's like, I don't know.
I've been known to partake in the devil's lettuce and have a very bad memory. So there's the actual answer and the joke answer. Which one do you want first? Because the joke answer.
Wait, tell. Just pick one, and we'll try to figure out if it was
Oh,
the
okay.
joke.
all right. So like scientists have said, like the reason that we fall into this sort of romantic love with people is because we ejaculate with them lots, and there's some chemical that's released post facto, and that triggers some kind of neural pathway that enables it.
The bonding chemical.
Okay, cool. Is that what it is?
Is
that's
that
not my
the-
definition. No, but
But yeah.
I've heard of the bonding chemical for sure.
Yeah, and they said that's coupled pretty tightly with sex. That was the
We're
joke
on
answer.
romance, though.
Oh, I didn't know that was a joke. I thought you were being serious.
Well, no.
So the joke is that romance is an illusion created by like
Yeah, no.
brain chemicals. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the love of love, right? The love
Yeah.
of that intimacy, right? Like the
Like a deep want for or a almost unrealistic expectation of certain kinds of. I don't know.
I feel
trying
like
to, like,
it,
fill
I'm curious how you're gonna arbit this because
Yeah.
like
I put it as like feelings of being sought after. Like if someone's acting romantic
Oh,
to you,
okay.
they're probably trying to be your suitor or like showing that they you know.
That's a good guess.
That's really close.
wanna-
yeah.
So for me, it is romantic attraction is my desire for someone to feel special. Because of that, I have lots of romantic relationships. Like my good friends, I consider those to be romantic relationships.
Yeah.
If I ever set time aside for somebody, I consider that like romantic time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not specifically sexual in the way that society tends to think of romance or romantic.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. Like, and then like the time that's being spent together could fall into like the intellectual aspect or the emotional aspect. Some of my friends, we get together and we just talk about our lives and like gossip about things, and that's very much of the emotional side. And some friends I get together and we discuss TV and play a board game, and that's very much like on the intellectual side
Yeah.
of attraction.
Yeah.
So all that to say, my attractions, I tend to put a lot of focus heavily into emotional attraction, intellectual attraction, and the romantic attraction.
So what are the other two? Emotional, sexual, financial, romantic, intellectual.
Sensual, which sensual is not necessarily like the desire to have any type of like sexual stimulation or like ejaculation or
It's
anything
still-
like that. It's
still,
more
like,
just like
physical.
touching, like
Yeah.
hugging or sitting
I'm
on the
very
couch next to each
sensual
other.
in romantic relationships.
I mean, isn't like
Sexual
cooking also a sensual thing that her like
Well, like when you're doing it with somebody.
Well, I mean, just like because it involves like taste and
Like the
so,
scene
like,
in Ghost is very sensual.
the experience of.
Well, I'd say then you're getting
eating
into
something
love
prepared
languages.
by. Okay.
And then aesthetic attraction is
Aesthetic.
the,
Okay, so like that'd be like the physical attraction, like or closer to that,
it's
like beauty and.
I think it's easily defined with like when you're watching a movie and you see someone that's hot on there. You don't necessarily are like, oh, I'm going to have sex with that person,
Yeah.
you know. But you like, oh, that's a nice body. I would like to. I enjoy watching this movie.
yeah.
I think like I kind of view it in the same way, like that I divide it into different categories, but instead of like attractions, maybe I think maybe this makes me sound selfish, but like I just see it more as like need based, like, but then that's like just based on like what my needs are, and like so if this person fills my sexual needs, or like if I need my physical safety need is probably one of the highest ones that I need filled by my partners. So like to me it goes off of my needs, not necessarily what the other person brings, but more like what I need them to show up with. I don't know.
That's what makes you attracted to them, basically, is them
Well,
showing
no,
up in
that's how
certain
I
ways for
would
you.
like divide my. I wouldn't call like divide it by 7 rules of attraction. I would divide like them by needs instead of attractiveness towards something.
I mean, the way he's categorizing things, they're so instantaneous, right? The transaction with the cashier, for instance, being like a financial, like attraction. I mean, it's a very interesting and precise way to analyze any given interaction at a point in time when it's extrapolated out to like a larger dynamic. I think it's invariably will become way more complicated. And I think that's kind of what you're touching upon, is the idea that these 7 immediate categories aren't like all encompassing of like larger dynamics, but they're not meant to be.
Yeah, these are just the attraction. These will often then transfer into the different types of love, which that would be a whole different discussion. But
Are you loving me with your love language, or are you loving me with my love language?
I think it's probably sometimes a trade-off in certain relationships, right? I mean, because a lot of these commingle. Like I know, like I'm gonna not get a whole lot of notes on this or details on this on the podcast, but I've been very like attracted to like one very specific person for like a decade, and it's very intellectual. It's quasi-emotional. It's sensual. Well, I mean, not sensual in the sense that we have touched, really, but like in the sense that I want to touch him and I want him to touch me. And not necessarily even sexually, although that does play into it.
you also have that attraction too.
Yes, I have multiple of these attractions with one person, and that has always been the case when I've had, like really big crushes or been in relationships or like whatever, and then there's like a commingling, as you kind of put it. So, yeah.
And you could have like the wishing part. Yeah, you could have the sensual attraction, but like consent is still needed for the actual interaction to happen. So
right. Well, I don't think the two of us will ever broach the topic because it would be not appropriate, probably. But and that's as far as I will go on that. But yeah, I find these 7 really interesting. Like I can see where all of them are coming from, but I've never really thought about it as like in those sort of categories before. But I think it makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, and like without digging into it, I think a lot of people just clump like romantic, sexual, sensual all into one
thing. Yeah,
but really you can split them up, and as you like explore different relationship types, they become much more like prominently different for you.
Yeah, I like it. How about other people? What attracts you to people? What are your thoughts on attraction?
Well, I kind of said that physical safety is kind of my top one, which shouldn't be surprising, like being all the traumas.
Yeah.
But like just having security and physical safety. And then just also people that are like focused on self-improvement and continued growth. Like I hate people that are like stuck in their paths or set in their ways and refuse to have an open mindset about things and improve on who they are. I just think as humans you should continue to evolve and change and not just be one thing. So people that are like have that same type of mindset is really attractive for me.
Yeah, live with nuance and be exploratory and flexible, and
Yeah.
If you're not willing to explore new ideas, I mean, like stagnation of the mind, that's
Boring.
yeah, it's awful.
I don't
mean, like
fall for that.
yeah,
Some people are into it.
No, I mean,
Well, some people feel safe not
Some
not
people
exploring
are
new
that.
things.
Yeah.
I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's great as a fantasy, but as a way of life, like maybe.
Some people are just that good that they don't need to self-improve. Also, I mean,
The luxury of competence.
debatable.
I was being a little. Picky, but-
What about you, Suze? What attractions do you tend to focus on or have?
I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I guess I just really, really miss.
We know. I mean, and they know you've talked about it a little bit already. This is expected.
I'm so sorry.
You don't have to be sorry.
Anyways, what I really tried to meet Corey, was the fact that he was so different to talk to. Like, I could have the most deep conversations with him about the most crazy things that I would always think I was crazy. Like thought shit and brain shit and universe shit and energy shit and just all the crazy shit that we wonder and think about in our own brain but we don't ever talk about. Like, me and him would talk about that shit, and we would wonder about it and explore it with each other, and I just really miss the intellectual attraction that I had to him, and I miss the conversations that we used to have.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
But anyway, yeah, I just miss him a lot.
I mean, that's understandable. You were with him for a long time.
But anyway,
It's good to recognize that you know, like, the type of thing that drew you together, so you know,
Yeah.
like, as a base, what is inside of you and what you need.
What you kind of want moving forward or don't or whatever.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too was obviously he was always just so much bigger than me that he always made me just feel so safe and physically safe, and he was just always very loyal to I shouldn't say always because obviously he had a kind of spotty past, but I mean, like, a lot of the things that he stood for, I really did enjoy and I miss just because I feel anyways. I'm sorry. I won't, keep going on
Okay.
I thought
I won't
everyone
keep
was
going
supposed
on
to
the
cry.
dwelling.
I know, right? It's like an initiation process.
We're having our weekly
We're just
cry
waiting
session
for
around
it.
the table.
Welcome.
But no, I honestly can say though that he, it was intellectual that I like. I also obviously am the physical attraction. I was definitely physically attracted to him at first. Like, he and I both are kind of to the point where we were so comfortable with each other that we could have looked like anything and we would have like been fine with it. But definitely there was still physical attraction, sensual, sexual, like it was all kind of the package for us. That was what I was attracted to basically from him for the most part. Anyways, sorry. Oh,
You're
yeah.
fine.
I feel like I'm bringing down the whole mood, like...
It's all right. I mean, this is kind of like I don't know what to call it, like a touchy subject for you, but like right now I'm considering like the sort of life phase you're in right now and like the things that have happened recently and whatever. This is probably stuff that you haven't had to think about too much since that has happened, and so
kind of, yeah, I just, whew.
yeah. So I can see how
I
it would bring
didn't
some
expect it to hit
some
me like that, to be
emotion out
honest.
and,
So
like-
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
So who's not?
Yeah, so let me try to figure out a way to bring that back to something a little bit more.
No,
Okay.
But I can agree with Sam in the sense that I agree with self-improvement, because that was one thing that I also felt like Corey and I were trying to do with each other was like get healthier. We were trying to like eat better and trying to like figure out different things that we could get worked into our routines and regimens to get less like, yeah, we just basically wanted to try to figure out ways to always make ourselves better.
Yeah.
And I liked that fact, but I mean, I shouldn't say in the sense always, because I mean, we definitely let each other slack.
I was
on a lot
gonna
of stuff,
say,
too. Like,
he's
we were
kinda-
never
I
like
mean,
go get her.
I
go
feel
get
like
her,
he
like-
was a big dreamer, but
I mean, they were definitely not. So I shouldn't say it in the sense of
but
like.
not necessarily so much a man of action.
This is so. I mean, we all have our definitely.
He was who he was. I don't mean that
But
negatively.
no, but that was one of the things that I did like, because like he would allow me I shouldn't say in the sense of him necessarily either, like in the sense of me. Like I was always like wanting to try new shakes or wanting to try new menu boards or wanting to try to like make things different.
But he let you do your
He's
thing
like,
and he was
okay,
like, all right, babe,
okay.
let's do it.
Yeah, let's just go ahead. So I was attracted to that too, I guess, in the sense that he was supportive. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah.
9. I think
Hi.
you and I are the only ones who haven't really talked on this yet.
Yeah, let's touch upon things that previous people have touched about to
The
deflect
7.
from ourselves.
The 7 category.
I am genuinely attracted to people who are interested in the pursuit of improving themselves. I think that's integral to the success of any relationship. Yeah, you always got to be, pushing yourself. Not
Support
pushing
life.
yourself is the opposite of sexy.
Yeah.
It definitely falls into
Bare minimum. Who wants to do the bare minimum? Or what is it on
I want to
Office
know.
Space?
My partner better not be doing the bare minimum. I want like at least some effort.
I
I'm
was
not
trying
gonna.
to pull from Office Space. It was, what do you think is someone that only does the bare minimum? I'll wear more flair, okay?
Bare minimum in life, bare minimum in the bedroom.
Oh.
It's a personal philosophy I've held for a long time.
I mean, sorry, Julian.
About 15 seconds. No,
Oh no, never mind.
I experience attraction often.
What? I feel like I'm so confused right now.
Wait, what?
They're
Never
having
mind.
a side moment.
Okay.
Never mind.
Groovy. Yeah, no, I feel like I experience attraction like often and to a number of different things.
Do you have like a preference, like what the majority of your attraction is, or any group of them that he
What your
listed?
primary attraction is?
Like your primary, that's what I
Or
mean.
your first, what tends to be the first thing that attracts you?
Yeah.
It's so specific to each individual. Like I
Yeah.
find so many things appetizing
Mm-hmm.
that like at the end of the day, like gotta have a handsome face typically. Apart from that, I'm like real flexible. If I like the way your bones and your face look, I think we're good for a physical start. And then apart from that, it's mostly the chemistry. What I find super sexy is and attractive would be honesty and directness. I love direct feedback. I think it's good for people, and there's nothing better than people actually asking for what they want as opposed to hiding that away because life's too short to.
Okay, I have to say, I have to can we pause it for just a second? I have to ask her what I want.
A short time later.
I can just throw out a really quick thing because.
Yeah, Susie kind of had something that she was thinking about talking about.
Talk about the thing.
Well, do you want me to wait until after yours?
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm so
We'll
sorry.
bounce
I didn't
back
mean to like
soon.
steal the floor. I didn't mean to do that.
No, you're
I
fine.
just, like,
Steal,
feel like I
yeah,
kind of
floor.
like. Oh.
Do it. Steal
Okay.
the floor.
So I.
Speaking of attraction.
Yeah, speaking of attraction and what attracts me to people, I actually have
You've been dipping your toes.
yes.
More than
so
dipping toes, really.
I hadn't
think,
been
but-
single in a very long time since Corey and I have been together, and we'll
You
just say
started
I'm not
seeing
single
someone.
anymore again. So yeah, basically I have a significant other in my life again, and his name. Well, we're not gonna go into names, but
Well,
either
she
way.
has a partner for
Yeah,
the
so
moment.
my partner just
So
stopped
what
by
attracted you to him?
and interrupted us. Sorry about that. I kind of threw things off a little bit, but yeah. Anyways,
We needed it though. We
Yeah,
needed
it gave
a
us like a
reboot.
different rejuvenation. Yeah, it gave me, anyways, a little bit of a reboot. And I was like, because I was kind of stumbling upon the things that I find attractive, and then he came, and I was like, oh, I think I remember a bunch of things that I
Hey,
find
Hey.
attractive. I remember now. So, now this individual specifically, I obviously don't find these things on everyone attractive, but like some of the things that I find attractive about him is like, oh, he smells so good all the time. I love I'm all about smells. I am a really good sense of smell. So if something smells bad or good or anything, it's very intense for me. So yeah, I love some good pheromones.
Could you describe the smell for us?
Oh, cologne. It's like, but it's also like a little bit of like sweat. A little bit of, like, he was hard working,
I do know.
And like, yeah, like a little bit of hair, like chest hair.
Yeah. Oh.
And like body oil or
We-
not oil, but like sweat. It's just the sweat that comes from the body and the oils that come with the body.
A nice sheen coat.
Yeah. But
Just a little.
yeah.
Just a little bit of chest hair. Though.
Well,
That's
because
the
it's nice
question.
when he gets off work, especially I've noticed. So it's like, you know, that's when I know it's the sweat and the pheromones.
The deodorant's
mixed
really
with
working today.
The deodorants, yes. Oh man.
So what was your question about the chest hair?
Yeah, just a little chest hair.
I mean, he's got a decent blanket there. Not
Oh,
like
okay. So this
too
is
bad,
specific.
but-
This is not ideal, right?
Oh, like just my ideal. Yeah, like I don't like a big, like I don't like a bunch of hair on the chest, I guess, but like a nice
Not a nice
layer.
grizzly bear.
Yeah, like he's good.
A respectable amount of chest
A
hair.
respectable
Like,
amount of chest hair is definitely attractive, but if you have to like keep up on shaving it all the time and you feel like, man, that that looks a little too something, I don't know if I could feel good rubbing up on that.
I wish I had a camera to show that body motion. Oh my God.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, exactly. It might be a little rough on the skin, like, you know. But yeah, just anybody that I love the warmth of him, like when we're cuddling, especially and stuff. I just like the feeling of like being surrounded and like I like to be the little spoon. I like to be the big spoon and the little spoon. I like to switch, but I really like cuddling. I love his beard. It like tickles my neck and my back and like gives me these chills. Like, ooh, I love a beard. I love his goofiness. Like, for some reason, he's goofy, and it makes me feel better about being goofy, and then I, like, feel more comfortable, and then, like, so...
He seems way more outgoing, too.
He definitely is outgoing,
yeah.
like, yes. He's
Far
like
more
you.
than-
He's
yeah.
more like you. He'd be like that one in the club, like, woo, yeah! Like,
After a few drinks, yes.
that would be him in the club, like... yeah, he's very confident, like, he's confident. I like that. I find that very attractive. He's supportive. I find that also very attractive because it allows me to feel more vulnerable and, you know, intimate. And, like, yeah, I like the fact that he knows how to initiate sex with me without it being too, like...
Pressured.
Yeah, like, he knows how to read if I'm into it or not, and if I'm not into it, he knows how to just kind of back off and give me space and not, like, be overwhelming about it, but he knows when I'm into it to be kind of aggressive and overwhelming with it, like, yeah, like, I don't know, we can read each other very well, is what I'll
like,
say.
yes, let's do this.
Yeah, like, we can read each other and vibe each other's moods
Yeah.
and vibes a lot, and I also find that also very attractive about a person, is when you can, like, vibe each other's energy, and work with that. So, yes. Anyways, that's my coming out story, is I'm with someone else. Surprise, everyone.
How was that for you? No, I'm just-
I mean, honestly, I was a little nervous. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being on a level that you guys have experienced it. You know what I mean? Like, it being
Yeah.
about your personal business, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's personal, but not as personal, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
So attraction. We heard a
now
little.
my anxiety can go.
The brave
So, Marilyn.
revelation.
Your
Are we going
last
back
but
to
not
me?
least. Yes, I'm so sorry.
Did you have some more to say?
Yeah, I guess we could revisit or interlude to you know, my experience of attraction. Like, okay, so my relationship to attraction, I think, is actually probably like most like Sam's. I view relationships very transactionally, as like they relate to needs that I'm satiating. So, for instance, I'm a hypersexual individual. In order to be satiated and happy, I need a lot of physical intimacy, touch, or otherwise. It's really difficult for any individual to satisfy that role, as I am literally insatiable. If I had it my way, anyhow. I unfortunately have to hold down a job and, you know, keep a house up and have friends, so I can't fully devolve into the level of, like, indulging that I would like to.
Gooning and baiting.
Can't be like full on 24-hour hedonist.
So, there's definitely a romantic attraction that I feel towards Sir.
Yeah.
You know, it's been an incredible series of years together. Our relationship is profound in a number of ways, deeply intellectually compatible. I could iterate your list. I do have it written down in front of me. The 7
Rules of attraction.
Categories of attraction.
modalities
Sure,
of attraction, and I could repeat those. Yeah, like aesthetically, yes; intellectually, yes; romantic, yeah, etc. But there are other needs and other attractions that I feel, and those are satiated, you know, outside the confines of, you know, our relationship. Well, I guess so, like as an agreement upon our relationship.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a whole lot of everything. I like a lot of everything. The most important thing I'm looking for, like, as far as like a relationship to like satisfy those other pieces of attraction, is just like really someone who's like a decent person and game to say like what they're into and like how they want it and why they want it, because without that piece, like having a successful like relationship, even just for an evening, is like impossible if people won't say what they need. So it's a beautiful world out there, full of many people who are very great, and I appreciate a lot of them.
Yeah. I think that's like a really nice thing to like, you know, to know that there are lots of people that like that you don't put yourself in this box like of what you are ultimately attracted to. Like you're kind of open to new ideas and like experiences and new kinds of humans and like you know. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, 6'2" dude wants to cuddle in while wearing a diaper, and I'm game. Like honestly, if he wants that intimacy, like if that's all it is, like he is very clear that he wants this. I've never done it before. Am I going to? Maybe. He is.
He knows what he wants.
He is
like
6'2" and shredded, and he knows what he wants.
Let's do it.
I mean, maybe we'll find out.
I'll never know if
set
I
that
like
date.
it until I try it.
We'll find out. Stay tuned, dear listeners, for the follow-up podcast.
Season 4.
Will they? Won't they?
Love it. Yeah, I think for me, attraction is I don't know, it's complicated. I mean, I went into it a little bit before when we were talking about, you know, how I tend to be attracted to masculinity, but I'm glad we're kind of like coming back to this topic because there is like an important caveat that I did not put in there. But when it comes to like largely cis presenting men, I tend to be very attracted to feminine qualities within them. Mm-hmm. So like it's a fine mix of the masculine and feminine when it comes to my attraction to men typically. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm like really attracted to the person that I'm attracted to. But of course, the other thing that comes along with this is quite often those men are often also gay and not even bisexual. Of course, I don't want to like assume anything about this person, but there's a possibility because it's something I'm quite known for doing. Falling in love with the gay man. Ugh, darn it. But they're just, you know,
so delicious.
Sometimes, you know.
I'm not opposed to gay men, you know, personally.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of a problem for me. More on their end than mine.
I mean, I can say I've definitely fallen for gay men before.
I know, they're usually just
that,
so
you know,
much
you
more
just
in
crush
tune
on
with
them
like
because,
things. Although that's probably true of
they get
bisexual men too. And that I just don't necessarily know they're bisexual. You know what I mean?
I mean, I feel like it kind of coincides with the ability to like push back on society's expectations. A confidence comes with that, being able to do that, and so if you're attracted to confidence, it's that bill. So
yeah.
I think when it comes to like relationships, like in a, I guess I'm going to use sort of your language over here a little bit, but more romantic or sexual relationships. It depends for me. Like, I have to have a connection there. I'm a little bit with, like, you in this demi sense. Like, I usually would need to have, like, an emotional connection before I can get sexual. But once I'm sexual, like, let's do this. And I can be experimental and, like, have fun with things if they're willing, of course. And I'm very sensual, too. Like, I'm going to come up and I'm going to hug you and I'm going to touch you. And I'm going to hope that you're going to do the same with me. Let's, you know, commingle. On all kinds of ways. So like having that, I think it comes back to like sort of what Susie was saying too, like that kind of give and take and that understanding that you have between one another. Like I want someone who can read my body language. Like not to say that I expect them to like know what's in my head all the time or whatever. But if I'm with someone who's like sort of, we vibe and
you're on the same wavelength.
Vibe in that way. But yeah, where you can kind of read each other. So like they can tell if I'm feeling uncomfortable or if I'm not, or if they aren't or whatever. I feel like I am very, I recognize those things in people. I read cues very well. So I would expect a partner that kind of reads cues well as well. Not to say that that's explicitly necessary. I mean, if it's not though, I would have to be with someone who I feel very, very comfortable with telling what I want and need and whatever. And there are some people, because of past experiences I've had, that it makes it hard for me to express what I want sometimes. But I think it's very sexy when you're in a relationship where you have that kind of understanding and that you can tell them what you want. It's just hard to find that sometimes. So that's why I've been single for a really long time and not looking.
Well,
Yes.
I noticed during your portion that a lot of our answers were focused on the types of attractions we have towards like life partners, but
Yeah.
are there any limitations that people have in other relationships in their lives? Like we have an open relationship, so we're allowed to have sexual relationships with friends, but
Right.
not be life partners in that sense. Or
Do they have to be friends?
No. but
But that's also would be okay. Yeah.
I was worried I'd made a mistake.
no.
I mean, personally, I've never been in an open relationship before, and I don't know that I would feel comfortable with that, only in the sense that, like, I feel like I'm just such a distrusting person when it comes to, like, I don't know, what people have out there, and I would be worried that something might come home to me, and you know what I mean?
I think as long as you
Yes.
have like an understanding with your partner, it's probably something that you need to discuss
that
and
would
make
be
sure the
my
parameters
biggest
are
concern
there.
with having a
How do you
relationship
both
like
navigate
that.
that? If
I
you don't
mean,
mind discussing.
Who hasn't had gonorrhea? Honestly.
Never have I
Never
ever.
have I ever.
Hey, we're millennials. HPV's like
I
our
haven't had
disease.
gonorrhea, but chlamydia met me once.
I'm not sure if I'm the baby in the room, but I was young enough to get the HPV vaccine, so.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
This is what it's like when worlds collide.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so I guess the other, like, concern that I would have as a person that's only really been in a monogamous relationship for, like, 16 years, I know that we weren't comfortable with having other people in a sexual way because it seemed like that was something that was, to both of us, coveted as very intimate and very, like, you don't, like, we were brought up in the way that you only share that with your life partner, you don't share that with other people. So, like, it was just something that I, for some reason, couldn't, I think, I couldn't get past the jealousy, I think, of it, unfortunately, which is something kind of shameful to say because I shouldn't be jealous of other people, but I just know my personality and I just know that I would go there and get that way and be like, well, what do they have that I don't, that I can't satisfy of yours? You know what I mean? Like, and I hate that because it's like, you shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't, you know, but like, I just know that I internally would feel some sort of a way about it. Like, I don't know.
That's kind of why
I'd be too territorial over my lover. Like, that's my lover. You get your own.
Well, like, when I was first explained, like, the needs theory and, like, having your needs met and stuff, I think what someone, like, made me open up to being like, oh, yeah, I'm polyamorous is, like, expecting one sole person to fill all of your needs all the time is a lot to ask of that one person. So, like,
I mean, true.
even if it's not a sexually relationship, like I said before, like, a lot of the times I'm not attracted to people for sexual reasons to begin with. It's just not a high need of mine. So
Just to fill other
I'm
needs.
polyamorous for other reasons, and, like, my other needs are being met by these people. But
Right.
my sexual need is still being fulfilled by one.
Well, and I guess I can navigate, like, I could navigate like that, but like as long as, like, I don't know, for some reason I had to be like sexually explicit with my partner. Like, I don't know why I wouldn't be like, I couldn't,
exclusive?
like, how do you guys get past the jealousy part of it, I guess, is what my wonder is. Like, I would be so jealous.
Can
like,
we say it together?
We are jealous.
Yeah, we are jealous.
for you, like,
It's a piece you have to work through. Like, jealousy is just a normal emotion.
Yeah.
What helps is, like, one of the rules we have is we don't have, like, sleepovers.
Yeah.
the people that aren't in the relationship, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if he's going out for a sexual interaction, I know he's still going to be in bed with me at the end of the night, and that helps
Yeah.
with the jealousy, because I'd be like, yeah, you get a piece of what I have, but I get it tonight. Like,
I get the
I get
whole
in my
thing.
bed every night.
And also, it's not like I'm not eager all the time.
Right.
Anyhow. So.
Yeah.
There's plenty that need to go around.
Yeah.
But how do you
You make
deal
it
with
work.
the jealousy issues?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think
Same
it's-
thing.
Yeah, so like, there are flares of jealousies. Like, I've experienced jealousy towards previous partners, and I've expressed it. I mean, it's just like, hey, I'm feeling this sort of way just so you know, regardless of whether or not like it, like, you know, you had anything to do with it. I mean, like, you didn't really, but like, I just letting your partner know, hey, I'm experiencing jealousy about this. I understand that it's probably like neurotic. It's probably in my own brain. You know, it's probably, you know, nothing, but you know, you nod to it, and then, you know, like, you typically tend to go on living, and typically your partner at that point in time will like validate you and, you know, let you know, like, hey, here's all the ways that we express love and intimacy together, and, you know, you have a conversation and just, like, you know, can reestablish that. But it's okay to feel insecure. Like, everyone feels insecure. Like, I don't know, like, lots of monogamous people feel very insecure in their relationships, and it's a perfectly normal emotion. You just deal with it, honestly.
I think part of dealing with it in a healthy way is a lot of times, I think, the default reaction, because jealousy is such a raw, like, in the moment emotion, is that you unleash it on the person, like the partner or whoever you're like feeling
The jealousy toward, yeah.
protective of, you know, or whatever, and almost like put blame on them. But I found I need to actually like be introspective and analyze it and then react and present. It helps me be a lot more rational, and it, like, yeah, I had
You do your shadow work about it. In witchy terms. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
But you kind of have a reevaluation and then reapproach it after the rethought process. Like, I don't know, like, the other concern that I would have about letting another be polyamorous is, like, what if that person does find another person that they prefer over you then, and then you're just left hanging like, okay, well, I guess bye. And
what's stopping a monogamous person from doing that?
Nothing. Literally nothing.
well, true, but I'm just saying in a general sense that, like, when people are in a relationship that is monogamous, they usually have that understanding of each other that, like...
I feel like the majority of monogamous couples end up cheating. One of the partners probably ends up cheating.
I mean,
The
maybe,
divorce
I
rate's
guess.
pretty high, and I know cheating's probably one of the higher reasons, or like adultery, or like, you know, jealousy is probably one of the top reasons for that.
At least in that situation, there's open honesty and communication about attraction and relationships outside of your own and things like that. So you can deal with those things as a unit rather than hiding it and feeling shame over it and having your
Like
partner
that,
feel
Yeah.
destroyed over the fact that it's happening. And
Yeah,
you
you
know,
mentioned earlier,
True.
like, you would have crushes on people and you'd like feel really bad about it, but
Yeah.
that's a normal thing to have crushes for people.
Yeah.
Like, to say that just because you have a partner, suddenly all of your types of attraction are supposed to turn off.
Yeah. I think that also, like, for me, not to like keep going back to it, but just validating them as needs, and like, as a human being, you have needs, and maybe you have a higher need in something than your partner does, so he's not showing up the same way that you, the level that you would want for that to be fulfilled.
Right,
I mean,
right.
there's nothing wrong with that, and you would still want him to be your main partner, but that need is still something that you need to have fulfilled, so you shouldn't feel like guilty or jealous that, you know, you just
It
have
has to be
something
sought out
that
elsewhere.
yeah.
And back to the, like, the different types of attraction, and actually it ties into the needs perspective as well. Like, just take sex aside, out of it, and be like, I need to be able to watch Survivor every week. It is a need of mine. I love the show, and if my partner does not want to watch Survivor, is that a deal breaker for me? No, as long as I'm allowed to go and watch Survivor with other people.
Right, right.
And
I mean,
Do you not watch Survivor Knives?
I do.
Oh, okay. This is a very
Survivor,
specific.
let's clarify.
I didn't know if it was a very specific.
That's why I'm allowed to sleep with other people, because he watches Survivor with other people.
He goes and watches Survivor.
It was
I
just
go
what
and
popped
fuck
in my
somebody.
head.
It's fine.
It was just what popped in my head.
Yeah.
But, like, all those things, like, you have all these things that you need or attractions you have, and, like, I don't expect my partner to be into every single thing that I'm into, and so I need to have other relationships, and some people structure in a way that sex can be part of those other relationships, and some don't, and, you know, even the sensual part, my ex-wife did not want me hugging people, did not want me dancing with people. The sensual part was not allowed outside of our relationship.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
didn't think that
that's
was a
pretty
healthy
much-
thing, but that's the way that she wanted to frame it, and
Yeah.
I didn't know better at the time of how to like negotiate through that. So
There's probably an
Like, kind
editor's
of
note.
relate. I feel like that's kind of how we were too.
I guess for consistency's sake, it might be confusing given the way you framed some of our relationship. Is that although we both we were previously in a polyamorous relationship, we are like, I don't know, is it monoamorous? Would it be like we're currently not accepting new romantic partners, but everything is subject to renegotiation anyways. So at any given point in time, but
yeah, we're currently primaries with no intention of like finding secondaries or other primaries, but we have openness when it comes to all of the different types of attraction, including sexual.
Yeah. I guess because it was just, we mentioned earlier about like the whole poly thing and the idea like that we have a rule that we're like back in each other's bed at the end of the night, and like that kind of like was a
And things have transitioned. It's always evolving. So
Yeah. Well, I think that's like probably a really healthy way to look at the relationship in general, or a relationship in general, because like nothing is really ever completely static, right? I mean, things change, people's, emotions change, life circumstances change, like everything around you is subject to change pretty much. So, having that like openness or that ability to sort of revisit the obligations and the logistics and the, all those sort of minutia that comes along with being in a relationship with anybody, probably, having that openness to discuss them like throughout your time as partners is probably a really healthy way to approach just being in a relationship in general, whether it's
what the expectations are,
regardless of what the
communication.
attractions invested in that relationship might be.
I mean, society does not train us to have these types of conversations.
No, they really
at
don't.
all.
No.
They in fact train us to avoid these conversations and go to the defaults of what the monogamous
Straight
man, woman, married, closed relationship.
Yeah, I feel like we had been stumbling around long enough in this sort of like world of like poly that when we bumped into each other, we were able to just work it out. Like we were both each other's, like I was a secondary, and I had intentions to make him my primary that I made clear probably pretty early. But like, our relationship started from this place of, oh, we're like just in this constellation together, this moving constellation of many people, and hopefully like the bond that tethers between us stays together, and it did. But it was definitely interesting to grow from that point to something more like more exclusive as well. Yeah,
Well, I think that was one thing that like I loved the comfort that I had, because I felt like it feels like when you have somebody in the God damn it. But it does feel like when you have somebody in the world that like accepts you no matter what, when you're at your peak, when you're at your low, when you're like, when you want to self-improve and when you don't want to self-improve, they still accept you no matter what, and like you accept that person no matter what. And it's just one of those things that it was so comforting to have that in the world, and it's one of those things that like that's I think what any of us seek out in another person in a relationship in general, is just to have that person that can validate us every day and make sure that we know that we're accepted.
Accepts you the way you show up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I think there are trade-offs to that, though.
I was gonna say you look for that, but then they also have to be open to the change.
This is true. You're right.
It's
in the
hard.
sense that
It's a
they have to
balance.
push you to still be your best as well. I mean,
And sometimes they push down aspirations you have, you know what I mean? Or like whatever, when you get bogged down into
yeah. What?
I missed it
I missed
also.
the joke.
No, it wasn't a joke. It was just it's delightful to hear you like frame. Yes, this there is a price to pay with satisfying attraction. Yes.
Yes, always.
You
I
get-
think it doesn't matter who you're with. There's always going to be some trade-off.
Yeah. And sorry, that thought's just hysterical to me. And you sit there from the ivory tower of singleness to throw down our obligations at us.
Well, to me, like, so I see this meme like all the time on like the internet, and I'm probably going to like jumble like the actual rhetoric of it, but it's something along the lines of like, if it's usually in the context of like women and like being in relationships with men, but to me it's just a relationship in general. But there is this thing about relationships where I know how to be with myself. I am very comfortable most of the time with myself. And so you have to be more attractive and better and more suited or you have to beat like the clear-mindedness and the like solitude that I have when I am with myself. And if you can't beat that out, then we're just not going to be in a partnership or a relationship, and that's just how it is. And I'm thinking about this as more of like a romantic or sexual partnership for the most part. But
it's actually called autosexual, is the attraction to yourself.
Really, well, I'm not like attracted to myself, I guess, but like more in the
But they're
sense
kind
that
of in
like
competition for like the sense of security that you've built on your
around
own.
being alone. Yeah. So there's definitely like things that I find really attractive about the idea of being like with someone else. But like I'm also like one of those people that are like, but maybe like you could live in your own house and you could just come over sometimes and we can have a lot of sex and we can touch each other, and sometimes I'll surprise you at work or you'll surprise me at work, or like we'll do like fun little like,
and then go back to your house.
and then I'm gonna go back to my house. You can sleep over
That was
sometimes.
kind of
I'll
my
sleep over
idea of
with you
solo
sometimes.
polyamorous. Like I didn't even really want him living with me. I was like,
I want my bus, goddammit. Live
like
by
we're
myself.
raising a baby together. I'll let it slide, but once he's able to be more independent, so should you.
But I'm very like because I am who I am and I am how I am. I value my time alone. That's the space where I can be like introspective. I can read. I can work on passion projects that I have outside of like peopling. You know what I mean? Like I can be passionate about people, but like I'm also very passionate about like not just people. Like I like to sing and I like to write and I like to read and I like.
To express yourself in all sorts of ways, and
Yeah.
if you're with somebody, that would suck a lot of your time away, and to have
away from these other things that I'm passionate about.
Versus, just being you and doing what you want to do.
Yeah, 100%.
I can get that.
But that's kind of why I'm like the
Like a
more I've like
trade-off.
learned about like polyamory and things like that, why I was like I'm open to it. Like I do know that I have triggers and like trauma in my past that would make it very hard for me to be in that kind of relationship. But I'm also very open to it because I can see how something like that would be more logical for me, more beneficial to the kind of lifestyle I want to have, where I'm alone sometimes, where I can like sit with myself and not be like interrupted by the like movements and like craziness of other people. Like, but I feel like I'm very empathetic too, and I think a lot of that stems from like having to like walk on eggshells around people and like I'll probably cut this out, but like with dad, like you learn empathy like when you're around people who have violent tempers and like things like that, you know what I mean? So like when I'm around other people, it fucking drains me, and it doesn't matter if it's a romantic partner or sexual partner or whatever. Like if I'm around somebody all the time, I feel like I get sucked into their world and I lose myself.
It's a lot of energy.
It's a lot of energy to be like working with when I'm around other people.
Yeah.
And so being with myself sometimes and being alone can be therapeutic, I guess, in a way, if that makes sense. And that plays a lot into, well, I mean, again, there's some trauma response stuff in there too, but like I'm also very introverted on top of that. So like being alone sometimes is like
Your comfort
best
zone.
for me. Yeah.
I mean,
But it does get lonely sometimes. Sometimes. But it's, again, it's like I say, it is a trade-off, It's like when I talk about kids too, I fucking love kids. But do I want any of my own? No, because I like my own fucking time. Like,
Don't wanna
but
give
it's the
my
same
life for a
thing
kid.
with like another, or putting myself in a partnership. You know what I mean? Kind of same idea. Like I recognize that I need myself sometimes, and so trying to navigate that can be complicated, but it is what it is.
I mean, like the poly structure kind of makes perfect sense in that world.
Yeah.
Just because, like, you don't even have to bite off a full relationship. Like, you don't have to be someone's primary. You don't. Have to, they're not coming home to you. They've got their own place. In fact, they've got a primary of their own in another house, and you are literally just there on weekends.
Get your sexual needs fulfilled. Get your
Metamors.
sensual needs fulfilled.
Yeah, like there's
Yeah,
definitely.
totally.
I think there's definitely like a space that would work kind of perfectly for you there.
We really lucked out, I think, with having the balance of like together time and apart time. We went from a long distance relationship to quarantine together.
Yeah.
But we always like we have so much in common. We have so many things that we can do together. But we also have the like, I'm going to spend my time playing my video game alone, and you do whatever you want. And we've never really.
Oh
Like,
yeah. There's a solid several hours in a day where we are apart from each other.
Yeah.
And thank goodness.
Yeah.
That was one thing. So our room was set up to where I would watch my TV this way. He'd play his video game that way, have his headphones on. He was chit-chatting with his friends online, doing
We'd look
his
at each
thing.
other, but not see each other's things.
Yeah. We'd like smoke together and talk, whatever, if we wanted to. If not, nope. Like, and it worked well. It does. It works well.
We have wings of the house that we
Oh yeah, at one point in time I was in a whole nother room and that worked well too. He'd come in there and say hey every once in a while and like go back into his room.
See, we got the 4 of us in our 1-bedroom apartment, and I just need more space. Like, I've been breastfeeding for 2 years now. Like, I need some damn
Do you
space.
still have the key to mom's house? Like, just literally
Just
go on a
go
walk
there.
and just go lay down.
Go away.
Store.
I'm going out for some smokes.
I'm gonna go get some cigarettes.
Yeah, go get.
Just as long as you come back, don't just go to the store.
Well, that's the job.
I'm going to get cigarettes, they never come back.
Oh my goodness.
Where'd Dad go? I went to go get some cigarettes.
I tend to come back after I say I'm leaving for cigarettes. It's very cold right now.
Yeah. You don't want to be out on your own there.
I don't have a car. How am I supposed to run away?
You're not gonna get very far. Well, there's
say,
no
not during the
transit
winter time.
Yeah.
in the Chi-Town
There's an
though.
Uber.
So.
Should
Yeah.
we do some Never Have I Ever?
I was gonna say yeah.
Never have I ever.
we
Oh
should.
God.
Should we just do one each, just like a quick round? We're up. I mean, we're almost at 2 hours of content here, so we could like technically have 2 episodes. We'll see. We'll
play and then you
I
can
love how
decide.
I was like,
You
I
can
don't
just
have
cut it off.
anything to add to the episode, so I want to play.
And here you are talking a lot. You had so much to say.
Kathy again, start to finish.
I mean,
Sorry.
I kind of knew that, but I didn't want to like tell you. Like, just because you're not
More than you
LGBTQ
think.
doesn't mean that you just aren't gonna say.
I was like, what am I going to add to the conversation?
A whole
So
lot.
much.
I have a lot of questions.
Should we explain to the viewers how this is going to work?
Yes.
Or the listeners?
Yeah, let's-
Yeah, I do that all the time. I'll be like, who are
Yeah.
viewers? And I'll be like, oh, they're just listening to that. We'll say. You can't actually say that.
So-
Yeah.
They're seeing you in their mind's eye.
Yes.
Obviously, no one can see us to be like, and we're not gonna sit here and be all, I did that, no, I did that. So we're just gonna take a majority and say, like, this percent did it or not did it. I think
Yeah.
was what
So
we
you aren't going to
decided.
know which of us have done it. You're just going to know how many of us have done it. And you can leave it up to your imagination which of those ones it is.
Unless someone wants to speak up and give details.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we can give
I
details.
feel like
Yes.
people might want to.
All right, sure. Let's see how much of this podcast we have to censor.
All right, but let's never. I mean, we're explicit. We've had explicit episodes before. We had to put creator content on warnings on
Ooh.
one of our episodes.
This might be one of those episodes.
Our-
All right.
Who's starting? I'm already talking. Should I just go?
Uh,
I don't have any
I
in
vote yes.
mind, so
I've got one. I'm ready.
Oh, you guys didn't prepare even
We'll
though.
go like this.
I was
then.
focusing on the song.
Okay, then yeah, we'll go this
God,
way.
never have I
Well,
ever.
he's got one. He said.
Oh, you have one?
Yeah. go for
Okay,
it.
so I'll start and then we'll go this way then. So Steve has a minute.
All right.
Sweet.
All right. Never have I ever been to a Broadway musical. See, I kept it pretty lit.
Like, does it have to literally be on Broadway?
No, I would say like, well,
On
a
Broadway
live
is a
music.
theater
I
in
would-
Manhattan,
well, I know,
over
but I-
500 seats.
I would say
yes.
a musical like above high school, like a production. I've never been to like a musical production. I
Okay,
would
well,
say.
yeah.
A collegiate production
That's
of the Music
4
Man.
well, they're gonna know.
So
who
100% has gone to.
Besides you, yes.
Well, I
Outside
mean,
of
you
you.
guys.
I think
80% of us.
yeah, I think it makes
For the
sense to
total,
include you
it'd
in
be-
just the totals because we're talking about
Yes.
all of us.
Well,
Yeah.
no, because you never have I evering, so it doesn't make sense. It would
Well,
be,
they can just do the math. If it's
You're right,
80% of
exactly.
us have done it, and she's the never have
Well,
I
no,
ever,
100% of the people other than the speaker.
Right. So
Okay.
if it's 100%, we math it. Yeah. You wouldn't
Divide by
wanna do it.
4.
Each person's
rather than
25%.
Plus, I was just gonna say plus it's.
I guess
it's
if you're saying never have I
25%.
ever, it's already given that you
Then
have it,
yeah,
so,
I would.
that makes sense.
I've never done. I've never.
Unless we can just
So
lie about shit.
100% of everyone besides Sam has been
So
to a
100%
musical
of us.
production.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't big. It was like Starlight Theater or something. I mean, it
Oh.
wasn't. It was bigger than high school, but it wasn't nothing super huge either.
I've been to like your ballets before,
That
but
was like, yeah, that was the what was that theater?
The
Not
Coronado?
Coronado, yeah. That was a nice
Back in the
theater.
day.
I liked it.
I mean, I've been to a lot of musicals. I was in a lot of musicals, so we went to the Chicago a few times for like productions for school, which is really the only time I've been to the theater outside of to like Chicago or city theater, right? I mean, I've been to some that were like local like performances, which are very good actually.
Two of you have been to
As
big
well.
ones, I'm assuming.
I
You
mean, he is
especially.
a theater aficionado.
Yeah.
Broadway snob.
Okay, that's
I am absolutely a Broadway
Say
snob.
that, but-
The celebrities I've seen on Broadway include Patti LuPone, Neil Patrick Stewart, Neil Patrick Harris, no, Patrick Stewart, Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my, Samuel L. Jackson, Lucy Liu. Like, I've seen a ton of Broadway productions.
Yeah,
I was
that's
very
so cool.
fortunate to go to a high school that like you paid like, I don't know, it was still a phenomenal sum of money, like $1,200, but they would take you to like Manhattan for a week and you would see like 10 shows. So you're just seeing like 2 shows a day for 3 shows, like a matinee and an evening show, and they just like walked you around the city, and I did that
love that.
twice. So I got to see a lot of Broadway that way, and I've been back to Manhattan 2 other times to see shows. Yeah,
Very cool.
love theater. Oh,
Nice.
so good.
Okay.
All right, so now
it's
you're
what
never
have you never done?
What have I never done? I have never cuddled with a 6'2" boy wearing a diaper.
Not yet.
And survey says no one present has either. Turns out not very common.
We'll have to revisit those someday. No.
Also,
Wearing
that
a
can be
Is that
diaper.
a no, I'm
How
kidding.
tall and wearing a diaper?
6'2".
Dylan's not that tall yet.
He's like,
doesn't
how
wear
tall
diapers
is he? Oh,
anymore.
wait, he doesn't wear his diapers anymore. Okay.
Yeah, stilts.
Can't
Think
say
I'm
I
clear
have.
for now.
Very tall stilts. Also, that probably might. I mean, I'm not sure if that's edited out. I have no idea if you're keeping both of the diaper references in. But if not, we can do a retake of something that's less profane.
Well, so the wearing the diaper doesn't bother you, but for me it bothers me because I need someone who can take care of themselves.
I mean-
I think just being a mother, like I don't want to have to take care of my man. I don't want to have to.
So the offer was.
Total unattractive.
The offer
right
as
there.
extended was for him to put me in a diaper. So I think he's responsible. Not that anything
caretaker.
beyond that is happening.
He's the
but
caretaker.
He take care of
I
me.
think that's what's going on. I believe he will. There's a lot that has not been negotiated yet. That will
Is there a
have.
bonnet?
Fortunately, I've not seen a bonnet. I'd be a little. The bonnet might push it over for me
Sure.
personally.
Yeah.
Hey, the You All Everybody video in Lost, they were wearing diapers and bonnets.
Oh,
Oh man.
you are everybody.
You
Oh my gosh. Yep. Yeah.
Is that what actually spawned this interest?
This did not spawn the interest.
Okay.
I started talking to a
Charlie.
random guy. No photos, no description like this at all. But I was just like, "Hey, what weird stuff are you into?" And he just like
well.
out the bat.
Definitely.
For context, though, I'm showing him Lost. We're almost finished with it.
Oh yeah.
And-
Is this the first time through?
Yeah,
Yes.
I made it
Oh,
to
wow.
season 3 before, and then I
Okay.
tapped.
And
Gotcha.
so he loves the Liam being in a diaper scene. For
I just
that.
like him shirtless.
And every time we see Charlie or Liam now, he's like, "Ooh, do we see him in a diaper?"
Listen, I only wanted the diapers so he can be shirtless. That's the end goal I'm aiming
Yeah.
for. I mean, the diaper's not a detractor, obviously,
Right.
but like, it's not prerequisite.
Gotcha.
There's a need he needs filled, Steve. He's gonna be out tonight. Go and find a 6'2" man to cuddle with.
Well, I
in a
think he was
diaper.
gonna be the 6'2" man. No.
Oh, that's
No.
right. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm 6 flat.
Oh.
Oh
He's
no.
6'2" and shredded.
Shredded. By the way.
Shredded.
We got the oil out and everything.
The baby oil, yes.
Duh.
Oh man.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I have never had cupping done.
Cupping.
Cupping is when you like put a cup on your skin and then
Like
you
pull that?
heat the cup and it causes. It's a massage technique, but it can also be done erotically. It's usually like a sensual type of thing, but it loosens your muscles.
I've seen it actually.
I've been interested in it, but I've never.
In
Well.
UFC fighters, I've seen the little cut marks all up and down their backs before they fight. So that's the only way I knew it was for.
Show of hands.
I have not.
I've only seen fire play done.
All right, 0%.
0%.
0%.
We're not as experienced as we all thought.
Well, listen, fire play is
Hey,
very
I got
niche.
100%.
Yes. I think I'm gonna get 50% on this one. Never have I ever been married. Oh! 50%.
I think this is full knowledge. I was engaged once, but that was it.
I was engaged 3 times.
Ooh.
Oh!
I was engaged for 4 years.
Oh.
Wow.
Engaged once, married once, divorced once.
I'm goose egging
I was
over
married
here.
twice to the same man.
That's technically true, yeah.
Okay, I got real confused for a second. I thought there was a narrative I wasn't.
Oh, no, no.
It's like, oh, okay.
That tracks.
Okay, so mine. Never have I ever been to Pride. I was doing it along with our thing.
I've been to Pride in multiple cities.
So 75% have. Yeah.
Are we just gonna out you, Susie?
I mean, obviously, it's always
It's the vanilla one.
I haven't even been to Pride before. I've never even been to Boys Town before.
Listen, if you
Oh.
want to see me vomiting
We
on
need
the
to
side
change
of the
that.
street, I can just go out there right now.
I feel like we should go to Gay 90s because I loved when you took us there. And is it still open?
In
Yes.
Minneapolis?
Oh, that's all the
Yeah.
Same thing.
Wait, are you talking about the bar?
Well, then let's just take her to the hole.
No, the Gay 90s is a magical place, like a genuinely magical.
That's where we took Aunt Brenda and your mom there. Our mom and Aunt
I've
Brenda.
heard
Sorry.
stories about that night. I wasn't there, but I've heard stories.
And both of the moms rode the giant penis at the front door.
I heard about that.
And then we ate
yes.
spaghetti, I think, and then went and watched your friend with the pink cat ears do
Glitter.
burlesque or
My
burlesque.
mom riding a big
Burlesque.
dick. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I have tons of fun. And like, there were the other rooms there that we didn't get to, the less vanilla rooms that we didn't get to go
vanilla
on.
rooms.
Well, it's
I
a
mean, not that
bar.
it was.
The bar has within it 6 bars
Like
with
different
all
clubs.
different styles and feels to each one. Like one is a very like industrial warehouse feeling bar that is dancey. One is like the carpet bar and it has chandeliers and
Oh,
there's
like a fancy, okay.
and then there's side bar, which is kind of like a pub feel, and that's where they do their karaoke. It's just like a big middle bar with like just seating around it, and that's it. There's like hardly any room to move. And then there was the back bar, which was like the leather bar. And when I first moved there, you literally had to walk through the men's bathroom in order to get into that section of the bar. But they made it more open, so anyone could go back there. You didn't have to identify as a male to enter the bar. So they like moved the entrance. And then upstairs they had the drag bar, which had a ton of drag shows all the time. And then there was the disco bar, I think it is. But it was another dance bar, but it had like stripper poles all over the dance floor and like mirror balls and
Very dancey.
I heard
Yeah.
someone vomited in one of their urinals in that room once.
Oh, man.
I'm sure it's been more than once.
So do we want to do one more round, or are we... What are you thinking?
I want another option for my soundbite.
Okay.
At the very least.
Well, let's start there, and then we can decide if we want to do one more round collectively.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah,
I'm
well,
going to do another round.
All right. I'm down. Well then.
Let's just start with
let's
Sam.
just-
Okay.
let's
Okay.
just go.
In the circle.
And then the real acute listeners will notice that I only went once.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we could still leave your other one. But anyways.
Yeah, I like that
I don't
one.
mind leaving
Funny.
the other one, but if you are uncomfortable with it, we'll take it out.
We'll find
Well,
out when I
listen
hear it.
to
We'll
it. I feel like
find
mine-
out
mine
when I
is-
hear it.
Mine
I'll
was
leave
very
it
much
in my
the
edit,
same
you'll let
train
me
of
know.
mind as the other one because I couldn't like broaden my brain cells to think of other things. But
Yeah.
never have I ever been to a protest. Like not just Pride, but like any type. I guess I've never.
yeah,
75%.
yeah, there were protests. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have sworn we went to one, didn't we?
I mean, I'm not saying like a riot. I'm saying just like
No, I know.
yeah.
No, I know.
We drew the line.
Right, we are striking.
My mind went to a different category completely because of factors in my current life. So I was like, no, I've never done one of those. But in a different demographic of policy and blah, 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 yeah, I've been to protests.
Yeah.
So now it's just me. I'm the only one that has not been to a protest.
Well, no, I've never been to a protest.
Well, I mean, both of us. I should. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I
But
don't
of
know.
the four of us that didn't,
Yeah.
that were answering, 75%, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I just have already feelings of not being safe, so I stay home
Yeah.
and hide.
They're challenging for me. I've been to a couple small ones, like, in the last couple years, but, like, I'm very, like, public shy in general, so,
Yeah.
like...
I also walked 2 miles in heels for the drag queen protest.
Amazing.
That was a choice. And,
That's what I was like, ow.
Yeah,
I don't like heels.
6-inch platforms. I made it all the way to the protest, sat through the whole protest, and then walked like a block away, and then barefoot the rest of the way home. Because there was absolutely no way that.
I don't know how some people who wear heels do it.
On a daily basis, some of them.
Ouch.
I like being in heels.
I love heels, but I just...
Not for very long.
But I'm a
Yeah.
clunker.
Oh, me
I
too.
cannot walk in heels. I'm a stomp type of walker. I can't.
That's because your heels.
I'm not very...
The like
Either.
crooked leg walk that like
Yes.
is not
I'm
I'm
attractive.
not quite that bad.
You're. I mean, it's bad. You carry your weight in your heels, like.
That's not what I'm
Yes,
doing when I'm
stop,
walking in
stop,
heels.
stop.
Though.
I recently got rid of all
You
my
you
heels.
place it though
Okay.
in between each stride.
No more.
For sure.
No thanks.
Pretty much all of mine are on Poshmark, thank you.
No.
I don't need to wear these.
The way that I
for
walk-
nobody anymore.
The way that I walk in heels.
Although
is
I did like almost. Sorry.
I pretend that I'm on
We're all
my
talking.
on my like on my toes, like I'm standing toed. It's not tippy toes. It's not like this, but
But your
The
weight's
balls of your
on
feet.
your front feet,
The
not
balls
your
of
on
your
your
feet.
the front of my feet.
Yes, the balls of your feet.
Yeah.
I thought this was the ball of my foot.
No, the,
Oh, no, that's
the
your
heel.
heel.
the ball is like this.
Yeah.
right
Well,
here.
yeah, that's where I put all my weight.
All right. Well,
Aren't you supposed to?
I mean, you are supposed to put your weight there. I think in your mind's eye, that's where you're placing the weight.
But when you see him, it doesn't look
It's
like
going
it.
like
Yeah.
this.
No,
though.
I know what the problem is when because I know there's an adjustment I can make, and it's just like firming and pushing my butt out a little bit that changes my entire posture, and then I walk more.
Straight legged.
Well, you have to like walk like
Normal.
you kind of have
Normal.
to pee a little, so you want to like keep your thighs kind of close together and
Yeah.
like.
Like you kind of gotta pee a little.
You know,
I have no advice. I love high heels. I collected high heels, but I am not graceful in them. I never have been.
I would not class myself as graceful. I would mark myself as competent.
Oh.
Like
Same.
like I could go out to a club and be there comfortable for 4 hours. At that 4-hour mark, we need to go.
Same. Like I wear them to like weddings and like, you know, when I have to dress up for something. But man, yeah, I'm not standing that whole time at that get
There better
together.
be a stool.
And yeah, more than likely I'm walking with my bare feet home.
Yeah.
Like
Never have I ever opened TikTok.
I've gotten a link and I've opened it to like view stuff on TikTok, but I don't like open it and scroll it. But still, yes, I have opened a TikTok though.
What?
You have through that means.
No, I don't have the application. If you,
Oh, okay. Well, then I
Yeah,
can put my.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
Well,
have
Open
TikTok.
technically,
you have one for the podcast
open
that,
are.
Okay.
and
well,
you
then-
posted on.
I mean,
You've been
I
in a post.
You're correct. I did. Yes.
Yep, you're a
Just
TikTok.
I'm a
addict.
TikTok. I'll
You've
claim
made
it.
a TikTok.
Susie, how old are you?
32.
32. So I am the baby?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because she's the youngest of all the cousins, so.
Okay. Yeah. So I am
You're
baby.
30?
I'm 31.
Okay.
And I
Steal
look-
the cradle.
and I look
I'm
so
just
much
kidding.
older.
A rob in the cradle, Steve.
Yeah, I know. I was so innocent when he met me. At the rubber bar.
Okay, Steve. You say you have a whammy.
Yeah. Never have I ever had sexual intercourse under the influence of cannabis.
Oh. 100%.
Have you done anything under the influence of cannabis?
I haven't, but I wanted to tie it back to the topic.
Never have I ever been in a polyamorous relationship. 75%, which I thought for some reason that when we were doing Never Have I Ever, it was like going to be drinking, so I was trying to find ones that like I would get a majority of people at the table, or at least 50% of the table, you know, in all fairness.
Yeah.
So mine are kind of lame in that reason, but
It's fine. It's fine.
We learned something.
Yes.
Wait, did we announce that? The three of the. I guess it's perfect knowledge, right? People already know that.
We
it's
pretty
3 out
much
of 4.
discussed the whole.
Yeah.
They're gonna know.
They do now.
So, never have I ever had a one night stand.
I've been.
oh yes, sorry. I need to
I've
raise
been
my
one
hand.
night standed, but that
Well,
wasn't
that's
my
okay.
intention.
I was like, no.
So, like,
I've
does
never
that
done-
count?
Oh,
No,
shit. I
not,
did
no,
one time.
not at all. I don't count that as a sexual experience. I count that as
Yep.
I wanted
crime.
more. They did not.
yeah. So that is not a sexual encounter. That's a crime encounter, in my opinion.
Well, no. I'm not talking about my assaults.
Oh wait.
No, she said
I'm
that she had an
confused
encounter
then.
that she wanted more out of the
I'm
other
talking
one
about
did
people
not.
that have
So it was
only
like-
slept with me one time and then like just
Oh, like a
but
ghosting experience?
consensual sex. But then like
Time,
I wasn't
one
trying
and
to
done.
just get a sexual experience, but apparently that's like maybe all they were trying to get.
So it wasn't your
So like
intention
I
to have a
wasn't
one
going
night
after just
stand.
that, but
But
like
But it ended up
that has happened
like
to me.
So that,
before.
yes, I would still count as a one night
Yes.
stand. Okay. So yes, that I would count.
So 100%.
I've been the victim of a
Right.
one night stand.
For the record, no shame. It's just literally something I haven't done.
Like when I was not that I'm super old, but like I used to always like just fantasize about just like going to an airport. I don't know why, because like I don't travel.
Specifically
Like,
an airport.
but yeah, specifically like going to an airport at the bar and just like seeing a like pilot in a suit and then just having the one night stand with it's probably a movie somewhere that I saw and just wrote
Flying
this
off
whole
somewhere.
narrative. But just
Oh, that
So you'd be
Leonardo
down
DiCaprio.
for some Captain cosplay?
Travel lends itself to one night stands very well.
Yeah.
specifically at the bar.
Yeah.
Starts here, we progress to there. He's got the suit.
It's a good fantasy, but
The whole
I feel
thing.
like if you're realistically cruising for sex in an airport, you're gonna want to go to the restroom.
I also feel like most of the time, well, no, we're not doing it on the bar.
You're gonna
We're
want to
just
look for that
meeting at the
glory
bar.
hole.
But, like, I also feel like in my fantasy that, like, secretly the guy at the bar is my husband, but, like, nobody at the bar knows, and, like, it's just a whole thing.
Like a
So it's
It's
a
the whole
role
thing.
play
It's
thing
just a role play.
doing.
Maybe I don't want to have a one night stand. I just want to role
You just
play.
want to pretend like you're having a one night stand with the person who isn't a
Is
one
my
night stand.
husband. Yeah.
How
I
many-
mean, a valid fantasy, I suppose. Yeah. What?
I was gonna make the joke about how many puns about the cockpit are you gonna make, but I missed the moment.
Love it. Anyone else have anything else they'd like to add to this episode? I feel like
This has been a great episode. We
I'm
talked
so
a
excited.
lot.
We did. It might even be 2 episodes. I don't know. We've talked.
We can
a
just be
long
one big
time.
episode. I mean, we're making them wait a whole 2 weeks
That's
between
true.
episodes.
This is a true story. But I think we should let them know. I think we're still going to record the bonus episode in just a few
Yeah,
moments.
we're
here.
gonna have a bonus episode after a little refresh.
a little treat for our Patreons. This
It's
week.
going to
Well,
be
we
named
might-
That Tune, just to be very specific. We
Yeah.
did it in season 2, and we're doing
with
it again.
Steve. Yeah, and now
So if
we're
you want to hear another episode of Name That Tune, you got to become a Patreon.
yeah. visit
It might
our
be the same
Patreon.
songs that we did, because our memories are so bad we can't remember.
I think the lingo is become a patron, though.
Oh, you're right, not a Patreon. I
Patreon
totally
It
said
is
that
technically
weird.
a patron.
You're right.
Yeah.
You can call it a Patreon.
Well, I usually just say join us
Yeah,
on
no.
Patreon.
Yeah.
We do what we want around here. We make up words.
Yes. So if you want access to that sometime, I think, are we going to release it the same week? Or what are we doing?
We'll release it when we want to.
What a great incentive.
I don't think we've like finalized when it's coming out. So
Yeah. Forthcoming soon. So become a Patreon so you don't miss it when it first comes.
Yeah,
out.
we'll definitely have info on our social
Yeah.
media. We'll definitely be
It
promoting.
might be on our YouTube like eventually, but Patreon's definitely getting it way first. So check that out on Patreon, and until next time, Coven.
Blessed be.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Midwest Coven Cast.
We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode.
In the meantime, you can check out Midwest Coven Cast Presents Weekend Reads.
Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Join and support us on Patreon. You can also find us at
MidwestCovenCast.com,
You can also join our coven by following us on social media.
at Midwest Coven Cast on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, and at Midwest Coven on Twitter.
Until next time, Coven.
Blessed be.